Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is Thursday, November 30th. It's about 8:45 in the evening. We started 5 minutes early. Got to keep you on your toes. It's the last day of November. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I thought it's maybe about time we broach the subject. Why is it called November? Like, doesn't that mean it should be the 9th month, December the 10th month, October the 8th month? Like, what happened? Did they move them at some point in time? How is this acceptable? Can we fix this? Is it too late? So December 1st, as of tomorrow, so it's like, I think they added extra months. Yeah, but to the beginning, Alex. Okay, wait, hold on. Joe, okay, so Caesars happened. So we had a cool 10-month thing. And then we had to like do a Julius and then do an Augustus, and they inserted them in the middle. And then suddenly the year was 60 days longer. That's what you're trying to tell me. We put the Julius in the middle and they said spread out. It doesn't make any damn sense. Maybe numbers are different. Alex, how's it going? Soul me. How you doing? Brennan, it's the grid. How you doing? Hopefully it's well. It is December 1st in like 4 hours. Different people do it differently. My partner, she's a real holiday person, and so she likes to, like, you know, when can I put up this Christmas thing? When does my Advent sock knitting calendar open? Like that sort of thing. And across the street, somebody put up Christmas lights, and I wonder if I'm getting to that point where I'm of the age where I start complaining about this sort of thing. But like, they went hard a bit early, and that's fine. If it makes them happy, that's fine. But no joke, part of the Christmas light display has like something that spins, like a dang lighthouse. And every rotation, of which it rotates at quite the speed, the beam of it catches the window here so dang hard. It like just ping, ping. I'm just gonna live like this for a month. I hope it's only a month. I don't know what to do about it. I wonder if anyone else has complained. Maybe we can write a letter or something super passive aggressive. Hopefully you're doing well. We got some Netrunner tonight. We're gonna be playing some Loup. I have strong opinions about Loup and these sort of decks. It's okay, we'll go into them. Sorry to bother you. I want to hold on. We got to spam. It's been a while. I'm not gonna read that. Hold on. How do I destroy this? It's been a while since we bet spam, actually. That's actually pretty good. We've been doing good for a bit. We'll just go ahead and ban that. Don't read that. It's important you don't read that. Google says the Roman calendar had been 10 months. The Caesars have always been there. January and February were added when the Gregorian calendar was introduced in 1582, and the anomaly of the name for the last 2 months of the year has existed ever since. We had 500 years to fix this. So what's January and February about, right? My kid is 12 and hates people that sit up too early. It should be the opposite. Like, kids love that. I know in our town we grew up, like there was a couple houses that you would like go out of the way to go see, because they did such a good job. In fact, the town that I grew up in, there was a house that was like owned by people that worked within the special effects industry. So like they went hard to obviously the chagrin of everyone in the neighborhood, because it had implications on the traffic routing. January must be named again after Janus, right? I'm assuming, right? Janus, no joke, Janus from Core Damage. I'm assuming February, like probably something else within that pantheon. I don't know who it would be. Friday is Freya. I don't think Freya can get a day in a month. Every game I play against these Loups makes me wish my Jank Corps had more influence and slots for Mavirus. Yeah. We're Halloween household here. So we're going to play this one. This one came in second at Singapore Nationals. I haven't had the time to catch up on Singapore Nationals, but that's up on Axu's YouTube channel. Yeah, it was streamed there. It seemed like a great event. It was like the night before SOS. I finished like 3 hours before. Time zones are wild. And this is kind of a riff on a deck that we've seen before on the channel, and I think we played before on the channel. And it wasn't my favorite deck, but it's this sort of weird thing where there's like this, we've played against the deck on the channel before, and we had some hard fought matchups or matches. But this sort of deck is kind of a riff upon a riff upon a riff, and we're kind of pretty deep here. And it's a sort of deck that I think this version, there's a lot of changes to it that I like a fair bit. Mind you, the original version is the Buffet of Chips deck, which should be here. I know NetDad was talking about how this could have been called Infinity Loup, which is really funny. And this deck, I think we played, and I'm not sure we played against this version. I know we played against this version. And these are like the same sort of kind of package that you saw in the sort of the mulch decks. The idea is that we are eschewing the sort of standard economy you expect to see in a lot of decks, and instead we have that, of course, that Steel Skins and the Strike Fund package. And specifically, the interaction with this deck is once you get to the end of the deck, and this is not something I've exactly experienced. I think we played in a game against a Narco, I feel like a couple weeks ago, where she basically got there, but then we broke the engine, and the game was barely not over by that point in the time. But there is a wild idea where if you play Buffer Drive, and it's not my favorite card in Netrunner, I'll be honest about that, you can, like, on your turn, pitch Audrey, because Audrey, mind you, this whole trash one card from your grip you can do at any paid ability window. That's really fun. So you can trash, you know, the Strike Fund, and so you just clicklessly gain 2 credits. Then Buffer Drive will fire to put it on the bottom of your deck, and if your deck doesn't have any cards, it's on the top of your deck. And then if something fires that gives you card draw, so something like Solidarity Badge firing because you've trashed a card, you draw that Strike Fund, and then you can go ahead and pitch it again. And I believe there's another window here where you can draw it clicklessly or something. There's some sort of interaction. Maybe you can just click to draw at that point. But maybe with Loup, you draw it again if you trash again. But the idea is that within, like, basically a click and a half, you can play the Strike Fund for 6 credits for nearly no clicks, which is really cool. So the idea is that with a 40 card deck, we're going to race to the bottom to be able to do this like Strike Fund recursion. And ideally our build here with Audrey and then the minimum amount of breakers and simulchips and doing the whole bonchless and instant speed with only a 1 of cookbook will play a late game that's kind of like mulch. If you're familiar with the mulch decks, they were basically the Hoshiko variants, which if you ask me are like variants of these sort of, we kind of saw like Hive Mind Max decks back in the day. Let's see if we can find them because those are some of my favorite decks in Netrunner. And these are the modern versions of them. There's a deck that's really tricky to play. It's a deck that doesn't look robust. When you look at it, it's also very difficult to play because you just have different priorities. And this deck is the same sort of idea. Is we have a toolbox of virus programs or programs in general, and then we access the correct one with Simulchip. And at some point we try and win the game off of a conduit, which comes in with a lot of counters because we're playing the console that says the first time a turn we make a successful run, we get a virus counter, and you kind of know how it goes from here. And so we saw Hoshiko versions of this that QTM was playing across a bunch of events. I think that deck is pretty good. It's a bit more difficult to play. Then we saw these versions. And then this version is meant to be a refinement of it. And the whole like meme of just play Hoshiko is really funny here. And there's a couple things here, and I'm not an expert in this deck that I think I appreciate. Other things that I think are a bit surprising. The parts that I think of this deck are really cool is the hippos. This has been my problem playing this deck and also playing against it, which is this deck has no money. Like in the early to mid game, it has no money. If you look at the economy cards of this deck, it's like it doesn't have, you know, you don't have the ability to Loup, it fires, obviously that's really good, and icing up centrals is super important in this deck because then they have to fight to get their access to get their imp down to trash something. But if you ice up all centrals, which can be a bit tricky, this deck doesn't have daily cast, doesn't have sure gamble, doesn't have liberated counts, it has a single paladin poemo, it has only 2 fermenters, and then the only econ card it really has is Strike Fund. Compared to all the other economy you can put into any like Hoshiko deck, and even the Hoshiko mulch decks are, you know, a bit thin on some of the like fundamentals. They issue that for a bit of a more synergistic package. This is a bit tricky. What I do like is Hippo. I think the hippos are so cool in this list. I'm not sure if there was any in the original version. The original version had a lot of 3-ofs, and yeah, this one, it had a lot of wild 3-ofs, like 3-of Solidarity Badge. To me, this card's obviously quite important once you get your engine up, but I'm not sure if I want it in every opening hand. I think it's only good if you're playing against an asset matchup or if you don't get the imp in your own hand, and Mulligan for imp seems to be the deck. But it doesn't have a hippo, and I think hippo's so good because this engine absolutely spins itself up to immense speed if it can get into somewhere cheaply, because it can struggle. If you do play Mavirus, the deck gets purged out, and then it only has like functional breakers, of which, you know, there are quite some strong limitations to. We're not playing Ice Carver, we're not playing Leech, so if you do actually have to buzzsaw through something of 4 strength, that's going to be a problem for you, let alone higher. And so having that way to, like, you know, just crack in, and so you can get purchased and get the Knob Tree, I really like that. I think that's quite sick. We have 1 Cookbook, 1 Paladin. I think Cookbook's just such a strong card in these sort of decks, mostly because Botchless coming in at 2 virus counters is really important. And then we're just kind of grinding through. We're still mulching through. So to some extent, we have Audrey, obviously Audrey as a breaker. To me, these decks feel feast or famine. If you're playing against assets, it slaps. Of course it does. If you play against something that can ice up all centrals, you kind of have a hard problem. This version also is playing Conduit, which can close the game out. So the other version I think was on, where's the influence bent? On a Tranquilizer, which is kind of neat. You saw this in some of the other Hive Mind Max lists, and allowed you to deal with some bigger ice. And just we said before, we have struggles to deal with some bigger ice. So we'll see how this goes, and if we can get to that late game, and if it matters by then. Corpse sort of needs a double ice plus hedge opener to have a chance to beat turn 1 imp. You can let an imp fire on turn 1, and then you want to imp ice stuff up. That's for sure, right? Like there is a window. If they don't have imp, they mulligan for imp. It's 3 into 40. Their chance of finding imp in opening hand is pretty high. But yeah, ideally you just do like double ice on centrals and you just slow down a turn, and you can click for credits. And I think it's worth it, right? Like, I think if this deck can't get a single axis, it has a blank identity, the entire engine behind it just absolutely falls apart, and then it has no economy. So I think the double ice credit is like, if you don't have a hedge fund, is the right play. And then they have to face check into your ice. Hopefully your ice is like good enough that it does something, and then, you know, the game gets a bit more interesting. I think if you play into like the triple Mavirus kind of op list, you're in a really hard spot. But again, every virus list has. But we're going to play this. We're going to see how it goes. Buffer Drive to me obviously is like the card that you want in the late game, you don't want in your opening hand. We didn't talk about the price, which is obviously a really good card in acceleration, and it is technically an econ card. It's really nice. I think this is like the only way you can functionally install a Knob Curie for the first couple turns of the game, and that card is really good. It can make Fermenter like click for 2 credits. So we'll see how it goes, because there's some matchups that are really good, but I feel like the matchup spread on this deck is incredibly polarizing unless I am missing something. And I have been a bit negative about these sort of decks in the past, and I struggle with them a fair bit. We're going to try and not do that. Make fun of me if I am. But we'll give it a shot, because it is really interesting, and it's a really cool build, as much as to me it seems a bit greedy. And I'd rather spread our power out and like have some parts that work with the trash engine, but then have other parts that are just like, for better or worse, you know, play dirty laundry, which is still really good with an ability that requires you to be running. Because mind you, lose only a card that you access. It's not like if you trash ice and right besides Hippo, that's not gonna matter. Let's go. How's everyone's Netrunner been? There's been apologies, like a kind of a drought of content on this channel. We've been kind of busy on the weekends. I tried to record something today. I have to entirely redo it. We should have it up either on Saturday, which would be really nice, or on Monday. And then we have another video coming up the same week. So it's going to get better, but it's been really bad. I've been like struggling to record openings. It's been making me a bit anxious that I sit down to record a video and I spend like an hour and I get like 10 minutes worth of content out of like talking. I think there's a huge difference between doing deck dives, in which is just like conversation like this, that I can't be like, oh, that's not good, I'll redo it. But such is life, I reckon. Just open imp. Nice. This deck did really well, and I think we're going to take a second before we dive in to look at what the meta looked like. What's Lou's real name? I don't want to say Armand. Rene. Bitbum tried to edit my video and ended up hating it. So back to the drawing board. If anyone maybe understands that sort of thing, where like you record something, you know it could be better. You know that you're only going to do this once. And so you just, I've done that many times where I've recorded something and been like, this is just simply too long and I have to redo it. So Jeff, hopefully you're doing well. I hear you. Got to serve dinner, usually here for longer. Have a good stream. Thank you, Brennan. Enjoy your dinner, huh? Also, Jeff, I'll ping you about this later, but I went through the other day to make sure, because I was, you know, I'm really stoked on Arkham right now. They basically announced the new Arkham Investigator. It looks hot. Most of the new stuff looks really good. I spent a whole bunch of time like thinking about the Scarlet Keys on its merits and whatever. And then I watched the video that we did for April Fools, and I made sure the whole like, what's it called? Arkham Horror live stream video rig works, and it works, and I made it even better. So at some point in the near future, if you're ever interested to go back into a jungle to like jumpstart some content, maybe over the holidays, I think that might be cool. I think that might be fun. They done put a win condition in my deck. Yo, NetDad, how's it going? Just open imp. Hold on. I want to see what the Singapore Nationals field look like. Because, okay, NetDad, you can obviously talk about this. But in terms of the matchups for this deck, what do you think is good and what do you think is bad? Outside of the whole assets thing, right? Like, I need to be convinced that I want to run 3 Solidarity Badge, which, to me, I feel like there's so many matchups where they ice up both centrals and I'm in a bad spot. Does Restream doesn't seem to be mirroring YouTube? Huh, Joe, that's an interesting point. You're right. Twitch is not mirroring YouTube. Give me 1 second to look into this. It looks like everything's connected correctly. I'm seeing both. I couldn't tell you why that is. I'm sorry, you're right. I haven't noticed that. Jeff says I'd be down. That's good. Yeah, apparently it's not there on Twitch, unfortunately. I'll try and read out as much as I can. I know that they're like cracking down to some extent on like restream chat stuff, because that's one of the big things between like if you want to co-stream on Twitch and YouTube and you're an affiliate, you can't do that. But I don't know why that is. Sorry about that. The bad matchup is Snare. Yeah. I think Snare is really good into mulch and that sort of stuff. I just like also don't understand how easy it is for us to run archives against a punitive deck. I guess we run HQ if we can. Hey, friendo. Jay, how's it going? What did you have for breakfast? What's Friday looking like? Okay, this was the Singapore Nationals. This should be up here, right? Singapore Nationals, 30 players, not bad at all. Just figured out to get a heads up in case it's easy to fix ball on your side. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm nothing. Like my chat thing says everything's connected, but clearly it's not. I didn't get like a thing on Twitch to be like, hey, your thing was banned. So I'm not sure. I'll check into that. Thank you. Okay, if we want to look at the corp, like Reality Plus 8, okay, Op 5. I feel like that's probably a pretty reasonable spot for the Loup deck to be. I feel like that's also an issue with this sort of deck is that because it doesn't have a lot of upfront economy, while Solidarity Badge is inherently pretty good into Oppo research, if you need to trash stuff to get forward tempo, it's kind of difficult for you to trash stuff when you're going to be Oppo'd. While that being said, the fact that you have Imp and Knob Curry, like maybe that's interesting against Bologna because you want to just trash their agendas. You'll still get Oppo'd, but they won't be on threat 3. That to me seems like a really interesting matchup that I'm not actually sure how it plays out. But I'm not too surprised here. If you look at Ag Infusion, that's probably a difficult matchup. Precision Design, that can be too bad. Magna, mind you, is actually really annoying for this deck because this deck, mind you, because it also doesn't have Banhar, only has one card in the whole damn deck that can break a magnet, which is Draw the One Buzzsaw in 40. And there's a lot of decks that you saw are playing still 3 magnets because it's a reasonable card. And that sort of thing also kind of frightens me a bit. We'll see how it goes. I absolutely ran over by Iron Fox and caught one on R+. Okay, cool. That's neat. Walnut bread, nothing much. That sounds good. Surprise snare. The trick is the end game of Loup is really good, so you have to play the open and mid game just to not lose and be disruptive. You rarely run R&D. Okay, so you're saying that we don't try and like, we are disruptive, but we're playing for the late game. Because I often don't do that. I'm often pretty bad at playing control unless I know I'm playing control, where I will try to go out of the way to like, you know, push myself forward. But sounds Magnet Tech Sophie. Yeah, I reckon so. We're just one up. How do we get it? How you doing? Hey Pat, how you doing? You feeling better? You can shake Oppo off threat 3 with Solidarity Badge on 0 cards. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Audrey can break Magnet. Oh, you do have Audrey. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's actually really big. 3 strength is good. Never mind. Yeah, you have Audrey. That's going to solve that a lot. All right, we're against the outfit. The outfit matchup, this version doesn't have Claude. The Buffet of Chips one did. This one doesn't have Claude. That's pretty reasonable into the matchup to have Claude. We also have to figure out what sort of outfit this is. Does that go in for the mulligan? This is the sort of matchup where having like Cookbook Botulus is also quite good because 2 strength or 2 Sabretines gets you through the Trebuchets, no problem on bad publicity. It gets you largely through the parts. Mind you, 1 does get you through the parts of Alan Chow that really matter. We have Steelston Strike Fund in our hand. We have the Imp. I think keeping the Imp is okay. The Hippo is really nice if you can bring down the bad pub ice because that stuff is relatively taxing as much as we have to break all the subroutines. And this is the sort of hand where it's like, it's probably a pretty good hand as much as you don't see a lot of the like fundamental setup cards. Like this is a good card draw card. This is a click for 3 cards. We have Imp for centrals. Like this is okay. I reckon this is okay. Solidarity Badge is great because it doesn't only work on tags and does give you additional card draw. Yeah, no, that's exactly Hoffman. How's it going? That's what the text of the card does. It's just like, it's 3 of, it's unique, and it only fires on a board state where you're already supposedly winning, right? Like this is the sort of open that's really difficult for us to interact with, right? Like here, we're just going to face check. If it's a Trebuchet, whatever, it's a Valen Chow, that's kind of not great for us as much as we want the bad publicity. But I don't know how to do. Sorry for disappearing. Just finished writing 60,000 words in November. How'd it go? For fun? A novel or for work? Like I reckon we could just plant in here into HQ. The problem is I want to get the Imp down first for the run to actually make sense. But if we have the Imp down, then we're weak into Trebuchet. So you just run those. Yeah, but then we're running for a single, right? Like we don't do Imp run unless we like force a Trebuchet res. But if it's a Valenchow res, we're on 1 credit. I guess we can do Strike Fund Steal. But this is the sort of thing where like, I don't know, the opening hands generally don't inspire me because we don't have like a really bust plan where obviously Hoshiko Archives is a play here. I'm not going to say that much more. We'll run, I guess. Let's see what they do. Afshar is okay. For a novel, it's a sci-fi with deep sea travel. Wait, for real, it's a novel. Oh, that's sick. I hope you had a good time. Is it like a self-novel or like a publishing novel? There's a lot of like different levels of what you want to be doing with your writing. I should do a NaNoWriMo, but for unfinished emails. Oh, that's like catching up on writing stuff, huh? How's it going, D, by the way? That's really cool. Doing it with a friend. Oh, even better. Did we DC? Did they DC? I think they might have. We're still here. Hey, what's good? It's hard to say something in chat to be like, are you still there without sounding passive aggressive? Oh, no worries. That's a long thing. Oh, it's a Winchester. That's totally fine. That's actually really good for us. This does nothing besides end the round unless we want to pay 3 credits. We don't want to pay 3 credits. This ice is relatively annoying. It is both 4 strength and it has a lot of subroutines. And we're going to care about hardware and programs. So we're not going to go for an Axis here, I don't think. We can go for R&D, I guess. In fact, here, the only thing that really punishes an R&D is the Valen Chow. So we can just drop Imp, run R&D. If they can't res this, which if it's a Valen Chow, it's not great. They'll be down on 5 credits. Nice. Nice. Okay, we can imp this probably with our credit, which gets replaced, and then we can go back for the imp. Yeah, that's really good for us. Okay, we'll imp that. That's fine. So we got our value. We're only on 3 credits here. We have double strike fund in hand. Not always the best place for that to be until we get an Audrey down. If they score at a hostile, we have a bit more easy reach into the Winchester, but now this almost on R&D almost definitely looks like it's a trebuchet. So if it's a trebuchet, they go to 2 bad publicity, they eat our imp, and that is that, which is not great. So ideally, we're going to wait until we get our botch list on it before we go through that. We don't know anything about their outfit list. Right now, it looks like it could be Lady Killer. It could just be like big deal. We're going to get some card draw. We have a cookbook that's really good. It's a 1-of in the deck for sure. Moshing all these strike funds looks really nice. And I don't think we really need Cleaver except for, well, border control. That's okay. Why did no one realize Winchester was wild until now? Winchester's been in the game since I started, never saw it anywhere. I think a big part was like Link was super common with Hosh and 419 back in the day. Yeah, I do think bad publicity and or what's it called? Yeah, Bagalter was a big thing. That's for sure. But yeah, the numbers on this, like tracing on it is quite difficult. Link goes relatively far, but not too far. Needed the Frank Burns to rotate before we could appreciate Winchester. Sanji, how you doing? Okay, I think we can set up here. I think we're just going to click for a credit here. We're going to mosh away this hand. I think we're going to get rid of the Cleaver. We want to mosh the strike funds for sure. Trebuchet is good for you here. Is it? They trash our imp. We don't get an access. Why would it be good? It's a touch 1-of and the numbers aren't that good into MK Ultra. Yeah, MK Ultra. No, 4 strength is good into MK Ultra. Wasn't this like 6 to break? We also, mind you, back then we were on peak Afshar too. Like people were icing HQ with other stuff. And Afshar was so good in this slot if you're playing into Black Orchestra. I'm way behind that book. Is he even that good since you have to break all subs even if they aren't relevant? Yeah, but here with bad publicity, like you often go through it for like 2 credits, 2 to 3 credits. Yeah, bin breakers aren't round runners, so yeah, you don't need to pre-install this for sure. I wonder if partly the relative strength of killers in general is a bit lower. Okay, we're gonna mosh this hand. I think having the Cleaver here is not unreasonable, but we can always just like get rid of it. So this was the best economic open. We have the 1 buzzsaw. We have the buffer drive in hand. I think we can price here. What do we think it's in the remote server? We've seen a Spin Doctor and Rashida. The second Rashida is most likely what we want to deal with here. If they are on, we have no idea. Let's price for a Botulus. Draw 2 cards. We lost a Revolver. So our killer's in the bin. We have a Knob Curry, a Paladin Puemo, and a Revolver. So if we want to get the Revolver, we can start face checking. Revolver's relatively good. The one of Paladin and the Knob Curry are also kind of reasonable here. Revolver's a simul chip away, while Knob Curry coming down or Paladin coming down is, yeah, we can go for Knob Curry. We can start, but then now with this, we can't really face check anymore. I think now we just do Hippo, run the remote server. We have 4 credits on bad publicity. What does it cost to break a trebuchet? 4 credits. Okay. Why break Winchester when you have Omar? Kyle, how's it going? So now if they res here, we can always like Cookbook, Flicker, or Imp. If they don't, Knob Curry, Imp, we trash whatever this is. If it's a punitive deck, we just start trashing their agendas, right? Face check with a Revolver, Field the Power. Yeah, for sure. It's a border control. Okay, so now we have to Cookbook for the Paperclip. If they crack the border control here, I think we're fine. The Knob Curry gets used. I think we do it. We have more of these. He uses the bad publicity. I don't know if we remove it. I'd rather remove a more taxing piece of ice than this. Obviously, this will become a taxing piece of ice at some point. Now we have to eat the agenda if we have one. We have another Hippo in hand. We'll be fine. I guess it was all killers that have gotten relooked at. It was way more Seisenton, way more Surveyor, even more Drafter is important. It's a Rashida. We'll trash it. We'll get our ability. It's fired 2 turns in 3, which is not bad. So Rashida, you won't get Loup value for trashing her? We did. We paid a credit to get a credit and a card draw. It's not bad, yeah. You don't just labor rights, right? There's no way we just labor rights. So now if it's a trebuchet, we lose our Knobkery, and that seems really bad. So I reckon here we have to steel skin. This is where our money is really, really bad. If we get a fermenter, we can run archives. We do. We have a simulchip, so I think we just do fermenter, run archives, install simulchip. I don't know what server 3 worried about. Above the law would be a bit bad, but they've done 2 Rashidas so far. Don't labor rights unless you have like 3 simulchips. Okay, so we don't do it for tempo. We do it at the end of the game. That makes sense. So at least here, we can run archives and we can use our Knobkery. It's a click for 2 credits. It's not amazing, but like on our board state, it's like kind of reasonable. And then if we have a botulus, we can consider running R&D. Oh, 3rd Rashida. Oof, okay. Loup doesn't trigger from Hippo. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, Hippo treasures the ice. Loup specifically, yeah, it says a card you are accessing. Subsidy on 17. We haven't learned too much about their deck. We haven't seen any influence. Looks like they're pushing. Now they're on 2 bad publicity. I think any card they don't pre-advance is not great. If I'm slow to the draw on this, but what was that, an animation? It is. D, that's a part of Cyberfeeder, which is the plugin that Rahi's made for Firefox, and like it has these numbers up here. It has a res animation. I'm a big fan of it. The animation is, I think, kind of sick. So if we run archives here, we can make a lot of money. We can click for 6 unless it's a Mavirus. I think we'll do that. We just need to plan the rest of our turnout. I think the rest of our turnout is like run HQ. They probably have agendas. It's just kind of hard for us to deal with the Winchester. It's half the gun. Running the remote server is also kind of reasonable, but with a single simulchip, it's unlikely we can get through both of these unless one's a border control. I think no matter what, we run crack fermenter after it's on 5. Abshar is so good versus Blorchus that Winchester no place in all rotation. Cookie Monster, how's it going? Yes. Break for 5 was absurd. Oh, Abshar doesn't feel that good anymore. How you doing? Okay, so we have 2 clicks here. We can definitely just run R&D. Half the gun, but you can hippo it. Yeah. I think we need to get the hippo down. I think maybe there's a chance we cracked that too early. I wonder if they would have purged out. But there's a chance too that like we don't want to run centrals until we get the imp down. And I'd argue we don't want to run until we get the hippo down. So that was probably a too soon of a crack. That might be too good. Install imp, run HQ, hippo, Winchester. That's too many clicks though, right? Because we don't have the hippo down. If we had one more click, I think that's a play. But I think we just set up. I think we cracked the fermenter too soon. It's okay. That's pretty good. I don't like pre-installing stuff. They can trash this. Yeah, that's maybe not great. But next turn we can do a hippo imp run HQ. 10 a.m. brain math hard? Not at all. Crack for 10 is fine. There should be enough credits for the rest of the game besides Audrey. Yeah, I think it might be okay. We didn't score this out. Could be. Again, another hostile is 3 bad publicity. Or 2 bad publicity. Once we run, it'll be 3. Now, hippoing this isn't fantastic. Let's just open up HQ. This could be a Mavirus. So we'll run HQ. We can always send out the botulus. The problem is we cracked the fermenter here when we should be like, if we're going to simulchip, we have to simulchip something else now. So like this was kind of messed up that we should have waited for the fermenter turn so we can use the simulchip. Like that was a mistake. We cracked the fermenter when we shouldn't have. So I'll get rid of the cleaver. We'll get the gun, comes in, we'll shoot it, get in. Now we'll get our why HQ just push R&D. They're more likely to have agendas in here. Oh, actually no, they've seen 1, 2. I think this might be an agenda. But HQ is how we disrupt like punitive and other stuff. I don't think we imp that. I think we pay for that. Yeah, we just want to be disruptive, right? Like we want to find the regulatory captors that hang out in hand, stuff like that. Petri run back an imp, yeah, for sure. Another spin doctor. Okay, good. Well, they're using that right away. Why? Spin doctor and Winchester goes back? Under the bus? Okay, so this looks like Lady Killer, which means meat damage is going to matter. This card we don't actually care about. We have no unique connections. I think it's our last run of the game, so we might as well go for it, or for the turn. So we're going to imp that, but we don't really care about this one. It allows them to, like, you know, get us. But now I'm worried because if they do install advanced events in the remote server in this CityWorks project, like we can't interact with it that well. In fact, we can't even run right now that easily. We haven't seen, like here we run R&D. Double ice, that's good. We used our 2 hippos. Again, I love the hippo. And I don't think we care what this is. The deck has like 3 hostiles, 1 above the law. We just run R&D here. Is there anything we want to draw into? No. Yeah, actually, an Audrey would be fine. No, that's fine. We'd like to draw Audrey Solidarity Badge for more card draw. Yeah, the deck is only on 2 Solidarity Badges. But yeah, we could have considered drawing once more there. The thing is we get 2 bad publicity, so if they don't res, and even if they do res, we can get in maybe trash and a card with a trash cost. The deck doesn't have that many. There's a case to knob the Botulus. 3 imp counters is a lot for now. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, Data Loop. Cool. Data Loop is really funny to the matchup because sometimes you can put the cards on top of your deck that fire from the top of your deck. We also now know we can transition to Conduit to some extent because this only has 1 relevant subroutine. Labor Rights, Buffer Drive, I guess. Conduit, we can't really afford to. The deck is running 3 Mavirus as well, the outfit deck, so like that's not gonna be great for us. Cool, so there's only 1 subroutine that matters on this, but it's just the tempo loss is pretty rough. We definitely want a Solidarity Badge. At least we rebound 1 card off of this every time. Okay. Valengel, we'll just imp that. We don't have a big reason to go back. If we draw, we just break where we were. This is where, like, man, I wish we just had more money. We can't play any of these cards very easily. The remote zipper is probably a Spin Doctor. We've seen all 3 Rashidas. If it's an above the law, we lose our cookbook. We're a bit sad. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. Uh-oh, above the law. They're on game point. You just need Audrey, yeah. We lost our cookbook there. So maybe we can contest with that. But now they're on 2 bad publicity. Let's go find a Solidarity Badge. Okay, Audrey, that's good. Now we can start contesting other stuff. This will come down. We don't have a cookbook. That's okay. We'll run R&D. So the problem that we lose to is that they just do install advance on a CityWorks project. So we'll shuffle these 2 back. In theory, we can labor rights to draw new cards because it trashes the top 2. And for what it's worth, we might lose before the top cards of the deck actually matter. That might not be wrong to labor rights. And now we trash, we get an Audrey. Okay, we'll steal that. We're going back. We have to watch out, actually. If we go back here, we could die to Punitive. Like, it's that simple as we die to Punitive. If we go back, that will be on 2 cards in hand. They would need double Punitive in their hand. The deck list, if it's unchanged, doesn't run Pivot. But if we go back, we like bottom 2, draw 1 if we imp. It was probably right to imp there because we would have got a card and a credit, and then we could have gone Archives to just pick the thing up because there's no Mavirus. You can imp to draw. Yeah, I know we can imp to draw, but then we still died to double Punitive. I'm going to go for it. We haven't seen any Punitives yet. We run HQ. We also don't want them to draw ice. We're going to imp ice, obviously, if we see it. The deck is running 3 of these. We probably want to trash it so they don't put in a remote server. It gives us our Loup ability so we don't die to just Punitive. We die to double Punitive if they have it. And they drew an unknown card. But yeah, that's pretty bad. It's okay though. We can always just like get an imp counter. But this is exactly what we're worried about that was in the hand. We might have wanted to pivot the hand. But now we don't have cards in hand. Like we probably flew into the game plan. We flew into it. We could have looked at this and thought like, how do we lose the game? And the answer, how do we lose the game, was don't have enough cards in hand when they push the CityWorks project. And currently, we don't have enough cards in hand when they push the CityWorks project. They had it just in hand. We didn't hit it off the top of R&D. It was an HQ, probably before or after the Spin Doctor. So we lose next turn unless we can get them to fewer than 3 credits. Just find 5 points on top of R&D. If we labor rights, we trash the Conduit. The issue is we can only run this twice. Because we do 1 break and then Knobcree break. If we steal CityWorks, we can win off of the top of R&D, but we need to figure out where the best line is. We can't even install the dang Conduit. We could do draw a credit Conduit, that's a single run, so that's not good, let alone we don't have the cookbook. Like this is the sort of the problem sometimes I have with this sort of deck. It feels like we have very focused amount of like attack. Like we only currently have 1 server here we can contest. And admittedly the server that we're contesting, we're pretty damaging. We are. But it's kind of difficult for us to like spread out across everything. And then of course Mavirus is incredibly ruinous, but of course it is. It's a virus deck. I think here the only play is like probably labor rights, get back into a 2 simul chip and a steel skin and go for there. Problem was that you didn't run R&D when you thought it was a trebuchet. Yeah, but if it was a trebuchet, we lost the Nob Curie. We lose the game there. Like, obviously it's not a trebuchet, but like, I think the single axis is there doesn't change the game that much. Let alone if like they hit res the data loop, I think we're okay with it. You'd lose the first imp. I just don't know how. Before you installed stuff, maybe before we installed stuff, but we did imp HQ, that's for sure. But like if we run R&D for a single, I don't think that changes the game plan, right? Like having a single doesn't change the game plan. The hip on the board control likely incorrect since you pivot away from running a remote. Yes, I think the fact that we realized that we weren't able to camp the remote server, hippoing something like this is much more important. And then we could maybe consider a conduit. But yeah, I think you're right that hippoing the board control is probably a worse line than running R&D. Or not running R&D, right? I'm going to labor rights here. We don't want anything off the top of the deck. A single give you an imp trigger credit and a card draw. But you said you wanted me to run before I put the imp down. What did we trash? We trashed buffer drive, conduit, and imp. That's fine. Okay, so yeah. Having a solidarity badge a couple turns ago would have been good. But we need to be able to get in here with 4 cards in hand. So we don't have any line besides now trying to draw, run. Unfortunately, we can't break anything. Because Audrey needs cards and Revolver. If it's like Trebuchet into something. Valenchat, we don't have the money. So I think here we probably have to pivot to try and winning off of R&D. Run less click TM. Ah, Sedville, how's it going? I think run less click here is fine. Turning point was hippo and board control. Not sure. I think it was, yeah. Also, like maybe having the cleaver here. It's not that good into data loop, but like we use the simul chip. Inefficiently. We could have cracked the fermenter return later and then like still had the cleaver. It's not that important, but it makes this contest a bit easier. Okay, so we need 4 cards in hand. They don't have a punitive, or at least if they do, they don't have double punitive. None of that's going to matter. So we have to get in here. What ice are they playing? They're on 3 magnet. That's a card from our hand. They're on 2 more boarding control. They're on 3 Valenchat and issue 3 trebuchet. So if it's just a magnet, we can't get into the server because unless we top deck exactly like we draw, and then one of those cards, which in this case would be only a 1 in 16 chance of finding a steel skin scarring. So I think we have to give up on that and go in R&D and just hopefully that we see 2 agendas in a row. As soon as we see 1 non-agenda card, though, it's over. I think it's going to be over. Trebuchet by ETR is beatable. Trebuchet by ETR is beatable, but not really. Because if it's an ETR, it's going to require a card from our hand. And if there's a card from our hand, we won't have 4 cards in hand, so we can't deal with CityWorks project. Yeah, we can consider running HQ. The problem is like they res Valenchat for 0. If you can draw a steel skin, you can trash with Audrey during the run. Yeah, I know. Essentially, we can. Unfortunately, it's only 1 in 16. Like probably our moonshot here is to run server 3. Light the fire. Yeah, it's not gonna do it. So I think we could draw. We have a 1 in 16, 2 in a 16 to hit a steel skin. If we have a steel skin, we have a chance of running their remote server. It's a boarding control. We're cooked, but we're cooked regardless. Draw twice and run is better than run R&D twice. Yeah, I think for sure. Because we've seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Running HQ is not unreasonable because the red caps might be somewhere. But the problem with this, it's different than Fuji. You need the cards in hand to have a chance of winning. I'm going to draw once. That's no good. So here we could run HQ. They could really mess up. If there is a Valenchat, there is a Valenchat. I don't think it changes anything. Let's hope that they overextend here. No, but then we have to draw anyway. So now we have to commit to draw. It's not the steel skin. So we have to run this remote server. We can't break a single ice. We have to hope it's like 2 trebuchets in a row. And I don't even think we have the money for that. Loup is a draw. Yeah, but I don't think Lou's going to fire. I think we're going to hit a Valenchat. If Loup is the draw, we might as well draw, right? Because I think the access on HQ is pretty low. Like the chance of us getting through 2 pieces of ice is not higher than the chance of just drawing. As much as maybe the access makes us win this game, but I think the problem is, what the heck? Okay. Okay. All right. The thread 3 text is actually mattering. You can always imp the CityWorks using knob. Yeah, but we'll still take the damage because it's on win access, right? It's not to steal. So we won't die to punitive, but if we don't have 4 cards in hand, we still die. I think we are cooked here. Yeah, that's game. That's kind of cool. That is the best time I've seen a teenie do something in a deck. That's really cool. Fire. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, please. Perhaps at Audrey, we could have pivoted back to HQ. Yeah, this one's different. It's on access text. It's really strange. All right, so that's the game. Bummer. Yeah, I think we had to do something smarter with the border control, but I think the bigger thing is, like, as we said it out loud, we're gonna lose now they jam a Mavirus project in hand, is we shouldn't have gone through the data loop. We should have just kept cards in hand so that we were able to contest this. Like, I think that was a macro level play issue. Hey, good game. Thanks for the game. This looks really cool in here. It's just damage. It's just more taxing than data loop. It easily can be. I don't think we have a good way to break this ice, like, period, in the deck. Audrey doesn't do it. No support buzzsaw doesn't do it either. That's gonna be really difficult for us. Any additional res on any server means that they can't CWP outscore this turn. Yeah, but Valenchild they res for free, right? Right, like we're giving the chance. I think we could have ran HQ as many times as we wanted, and unless they have 5 points in hand, we still can't run the remote server. I think that's a big issue. It was Trank, but this build is Hippo that deals with the big ice. Oh yeah, right, because your version had Trank in it. Yeah. Yeah, I think on the macro level, but like, man, it still feels so hard. It still feels so hard. And that's like, you know, this is one of the weird decks where like the face checks are, I would say, relatively interesting comparatively to like, what's the worst face check in an HB deck? Like a, technically, I guess, Hagen early game. Yeah, I think just keeping cards in hand would have been good. The Mavirus absolutely gutted us. Like the Mavirus on R&D the turn before they pushed absolutely ruined our tempo. Okay, it's PE. I think overall that's probably quite good for us. Hey, Dave. So we don't have Stargate. People just stop playing Stargate. So we have Imp to deal with some stuff. We have obviously like getting down sooner than later, getting down what's it called? The buffer drive isn't reasonable. Yeah, Paladin Imp opening, that seems pretty good. Double Strike Fund, we lose to damage, it's okay. I don't know how aggressive we can be. We'll see what kind of PE this is. We'll keep this in for sure. New York's finest Netrunner club leader. How many Netrunner clubs are there in New York? That's really cool. Mindscaping, okay. People are pretty creative the way they play this card. Some people just put agendas on top of the deck because nobody runs it anyway, so we could always consider running it. Did Dave mull? Dave mulled. Okay. Single ice, 7 credits. Saisentan is absolute game ruining. We're going to maybe respect that one there. House of Knives, Rashida, both good opens, but I don't think we can face check into this. In fact, Revolver doesn't feel amazing in this. We're definitely one on simul chips with Botulus and then on top of that cookbook support. This is another sort of matchup where the face checking is like generally a bit difficult. We'll start here. We'll go HQ. We're going to imp whatever we see. Except that. That's fine. Double A stall and sends HQ seems great. It seems really good. You'd be so rich before you died. Cat, how's it going? I don't think we need to put the fermenter down here. The problem is like just open imp failed for us. I'm going to continue to draw. Okay. Yeah, double install a synced HQ seemed really good. Again, there's a lot of decks with viruses out there. It's really hard sometimes. And I do think that if I'm not mistaken, that deck is 3 Mavirus, the Lady Killer deck, which clearly the player we played had done some changes to it. I'm not seeing House of Knives in a lot of popular PE decks. It's been down. I'd be down to see it. I've seen it in a lot of the sort of like more damage based ones. Oh, it's Oppo. Fuck. So we've seen Mindscaping. I've heard of these like Oppo PE decks. To me, the surprise here is so bad that like if you're not prepared for it, there are certain board states where an Oppo absolutely. I can't believe we trashed him a virus and got Oppo'd on turn 1 in PE. Like that's really bad. So we have to worry about things like Neurospike. Yeah, 3 Solidarity Badge. I agree. Solidarity Badge would have been killer, especially because we don't decide till this turn starts. I'm gonna run server 2 first, and then we'll just clear 1 tag. I think they can't have end of the line plus Mindscaping in hand. That'd be ridiculous. Spin Doctor. Okay, they probably should use it, or we will. Yeah, I don't know. Oppo out of it's just like hard hitting news out of faction, like Oppo out of faction. Like I think it will absolutely stomp people on like JNet casual and in Swiss rounds. And arguably maybe it's hard to play around in Jinteki, right? But it's like I think we just removed 2 tags here. That might not be right. No res in server 1, early Reaper. Oh, we didn't charge server one. Paul, how's it going? Not sure what it is, right? Like no. What's in the remote server? I think there's a chance that it is the one I don't like, the one that gives you credits. It could be Reaper, but it seems like maybe the one that they get paid. Wage workers probably not. But this is an ugly spot to be in. We can install any card from our deck with Paladin. Let's look. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's really not good. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, I guess we're running everything now. On 0 credits. Yay. Bladder rate? Maybe. Prana, that's the one. I think it's Prana. I think we just got to run it so we lose cards in hand. We can run the remote servers. The thing is, like, we can't trash Rashida. Moshing? I'd rather lose these cards to damage. Yeah, it is a Prana. That makes sense. Hansei, so they have something here. Because if we mosh and we don't lose cards, just play Imp. Oh my god, we could have played Imp. I forgot we had Paladin credits. Yeah, why no Imp? I forgot we had Paladin credits. So server 3 could be damaged. Now if we face check on 5, if it's a Sice on Ton, they get a lot of money. I think we just install the Fermenter for 1 and unfortunately discard a couple. If we mosh, we just discard different cards. That's maybe fine. Yeah, because we don't want to play the strike funds. We could lose them to damage. Like, it feels bad throwing these out. Cleaver is good for exactly the, what's it called we're expecting. I think you would rather get Knob Kree down in the second imp, but that might be wrong. Okay, we'll get rid of 2 cards here. Price. Botchless on a single token I don't feel fantastic about. Hippo seems reasonable. If they score at something here, this is going to be bad. Pitch Fermenter. Yeah, you're right. We have more money than I think we need. Like, just Paladin and then open servers with Imp is going to be enough money. I think that's true. Now, if they score it, they technically score it for free. Like, Prana Condenser refunds all of it, which is kind of cool. If it's like a House of Knives. Or a Sting. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I do that without asking. Like, game state hasn't changed. Maybe I should. Maybe that's rude. But if I'm discarding cards and I mess it up, if they haven't done anything, I don't feel bad about it. I guess they could have res something. Knob Imp. Yeah, I think so. They have a lot of money. I'm worried that there's going to be some sort of like snare makes a lot of sense in this deck considering they care about tags. So we have to make sure that we're not beefing it too hard. HQ is open. They definitely have damage stuff in there. We can do Knob and then we can run HQ. And if we find an agenda, we just trash it. It might be hard to win the game, but we won't get praned. Oh, besides. This might not do damage. Yeah. Well, it will do 2 damage, mind you. So if we imp it, we could get oppoed. We know where no oppos are. They're back in the deck. On a scale 1 to 10, how much does a deck not want to wake up call? This deck, it has recursion where like you can just trash the hardware. It's probably not the end of the world. We're going to trash this. Now we probably have to clear the tag. We get a solidarity badge. That's nice. We have a conduit. That's hard to play in this matchup. I'm just going to draw once and remove the tag, I think. I think we've done enough damage to ourselves today. We might get oppoed. It's okay. I see we're mulching. Ball. Not exactly. This is the sort of like Loup decks. So Dead posted one, and then this one came in second. I didn't even shout out the name of Iron Fox, who played this at Singapore Nationals. He has a Sting in the remote server. It's better that they score that out. But again, they score this out for free, which is pretty cool. They actually gain 3 credits because there's 2 instances of event damage on this, which is pretty notable. Now, this eventually will kill us. We do have a single copy of Pinhole Threading. On 9 credits, they can res just about every ice, and we're ready for literally no ice. Botchless in the bin. We drew our steel skins at a really ugly time. Ideally, you keep those as padding. I think we just start by going HQ. Oh, shit, never mind. That's the one we were looking for. Cool. We got an engine. We could run HQ here. I'm not too excited about it. I think we need to be set up to deal the remote servers sooner than later. Like, they didn't ice this up, which is a bit suspect. They might have another snare in there. I think we continue to draw. Price is a bit difficult. We haven't seen our buffer drive, which is reasonable because we might get the late game, but like the late game engine of this deck is arguably way too greedy because we cannot play the game with a single card in hand. If they just have Biotic Sting, which a lot of the decks are actually on these sort of decks are on a single Biotic. Need to find Audrey. Yeah, Audrey would be really important. As much as like using cards in hand to break stuff is a bit cursed in the Jinteki matchup, specifically this matchup. Like we talked about how Snare is a bad matchup earlier. I think we draw, and I think we do. Oh, there it is. I think we do get the cookbook down here. And then next turn we get the Audrey down. You can imp the Biotic. Yeah, if we find it. If we find it for sure. Don't play the price. Yeah, we're not going to play the price with 16 cards left. This is tricky. Like, that's probably a Fuji. I think we have to run it. We get good card draw there. Double Audrey. Okay, I think we do run it. So we have one Virus counter. If we run this, we're expecting this to be something like, it can't be an Anansi. If it's a Bumper Anasa, it takes 2 cards out of our hand. We don't replace the card draw. Fuji does 3. I think stealing a Fuji would be really good. Imping the Fuji is also very reasonable as well. I think we're just going to run it. If they res any of the expensive ice, fine by us. Yeah, imping the agendas is total. That's fine. The DNA acid thing? What's its name? Wait, which one, Paul? Oh, the advanceable one? Yeah, that could hurt us here. Gene Splicer. Yeah, it could hurt us here. Is it lethal? I think it's 3 9 damage, maybe? We'll take it. Fuji. So we'll imp that. Otherwise, we die. That's a lot of triggers. Don't mind if I do. Okay, so there's a Fuji in Archives. We've seen one Spin Doctor. We have to remember that running that, if we win, we win. We could consider going HQ. We technically trashed a card, but we kept them off of Threat, which is really nice. Threat 3, because they're an Oppo deck, mind you. We can't really afford to mosh. We've kind of run out of money, but ideally none of our engine no longer interacts with that old fangled credit technology. Simulchip's nice. Now we get tricked to some extent if they put like a big agenda on the table and play like a Mavirus. The window though, actually no, Knob Curry beats that every time. Sorry, my sentence makes no sense. No, Paul, I think I knew what you meant. I thought you were worried about the ice, but then, yeah, no, that tracks. Could be draw. That's nice. We don't want to run HQ, but here they'll jam in server 1 or that server. Ooh, 4 credits. Why not that server, right? Revolver's good. That actually is pretty good. It needs credits, but I'd rather have that on the table. No longer need money. Yeah, maybe. The stack got small really fast. It's 40 cards, and like we ripped through it pretty quickly. P and being broke name a more iconic combo. I don't know why they would put this here if not here. So this has to be another anemone, which we want to respect because they could set up like some sort of regenesis. If it isn't an enemy, I don't know. I'd rather keep that. I don't think we really need the simulchip here, but this is nice to have as much as it's obnoxious to break a lot of things. There, that makes sense. It had to be 2 anemones, otherwise they put it behind the first anemone. At least they don't have money now. So imp and moshing, that's totally fine. I think we're going to use a bullet on this. I want to keep cards in hand. We're accessing with an Audrey counter. Sorry, with an imp counter. So even if it's a Rashida, it's a House of Knives. I think we steal the House of Knives. It only does 1 damage. But that means we won't get an imp this turn. Do we just imp this? Like there has to be a virus in here. That will put them on 4 points. I think we imp it. Yeah, because we can run HQ. They can't snare us. Yeah, that's totally fine. The issue is we don't have an imp. If we stole it, we could run HQ. That might have been better because then we can imp HQ. And imping HQ here right now seems pretty reasonable. We can like flicker an imp. That doesn't seem great. Yeah, we might have wanted to steal that to run HQ. Now in theory, if we run HQ and see a Fuji, we win the game. I'll go trash a snare. Oh yeah, 1 in Rome. I think we can go back. It puts us to low credits. You can chip and run HQ. Yeah, I don't know if we want to use our chips like that. It might be a bit greedy, but maybe that's right. I just want to access while they don't have snare money because they probably have snares. Okay, well, having another credit there might have made sense. We can trash Spin Doctors. So now we have to steal a Fuji somewhere and we can run Archives. They did install it and draw. Okay, they're on 2 credits. There's no ice they can really res here, right? Solitary Badge feels good. Holy shit, Solitary Badge feels good. We'll click for credit so we have to revolve or something. But on 2, like, if this is the Tithe, that's the worst case for us. Tithe is what, 1 strength? Oh, Tattoo Bola. Yeah, right. Now we run R&D. I'll do that with my money. Thank you. We could have Audrey'd that. I don't want to. You can have your secrets. Fuck. Shit. Excuse me. You hate to see that thing whenever it shows up, that damn whale. That's okay. It wasn't that bad for us. Oh no, I know. That keeps happening. Again, like most decks are running 2 with them, especially in Shinteki. Like, why not? They're on 3 credits. Okay, we're still just gonna send it R&D. Who wins? If we hippo this, it's we win, right? Like we just win. 2 hippos are in the bin. That's not gonna happen now. Paladin, Buemo, Solidarity. We'll still draw. Yeah, you keep your Audrey counter. It's fine for that. I don't want to deal with this because it gives them money, so I'm gonna run here and hope it's not a Tattoo Bola. If they res another anemone, it's a lot of error. No further action. Okay. So this puts them on 3, 4, 5. We're drawing too many cards. We'll go back. Mavirus is not the whale? Oh, I'm aware. But that's the point of the thing I focus on. Is the scientist who created the whale? Wait, what is a Mavirus, D? Is it real and how do you pronounce it? I was chatting with somebody earlier this week and someone mused about slotting reverse infection. Mavirus is so much better. Like the fact that it fires for nothing. Faunatria. I would have liked to imp that. There's a chance we could have simul-chip imped. I think Fermenter doesn't make a lot of sense. On 3 cards, we could have gone for Conduit. Perhaps it's time to Conduit? Yeah, maybe at the beginning of the turn it was. For real. Alright, well. I don't want them to have a Faunatria, because then they'd have a Faunatria. I think we just imp the Faunatria. Obviously, a bit of that was scuffed, but watch this is really nice, but they need money for it to be nice. They could do credit Hansei. We can try the Conduit. Mavirus is a very obscure virus? Is this science? Huh. Okay. So this could be Faunatria. We are slowly milling out. That's fine. Labor rates is important. We don't lose that to damage. That is our first labor rates, though. Sorry, you couldn't see that. It was. So that's a Faunatria. We're going to have too many cards in hand, so we just simply take a tag. So that is in some way that we haven't ascended past the need for credits. If they res here, though, it's pretty good. And honestly, this install here means the Tattoo Bola probably doesn't have... They don't have an Ice in HQ. Well, no, this probably was the Ice in HQ. I think we just send it. Did we install the Conduit first? Yeah. Either res this or res Snare. Yeah, Conduit run for sure. It is a Faunatria. Okay. So, the Fanutria, I don't know how to say that one. So, unfortunately, the subroutines on this are... We could boost. Just so we don't take the tag. Oh, shit. Sorry. I meant to run with the Conduit. Yeah. Come on. You think I'll figure it out? You write Conduit run. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm doing it. Thanks. So one of the cool things, you know, is that we have ways to play around Faunatria. Okay, I'll hit the button. It's fine. Make sure not to float tag. No, we have no interest to. But unfortunately, we have to do like credit remove tag. Did the thing again. It's okay. It's good to be consistent. Okay, so we don't have the bullet here. We probably want to go through this with 3 cards in hand. If we have 3 cards in hand with the Conduit, you might honestly die. We can always imp the Fuji if we find it. So here it's in our best interest to like Audrey twice. Once for reason, once for fun. Just so that we can see deeper into the deck. So this is a bit messed up. Don't die to Fuji the second time? Yeah. So we'll get rid of a card. And then we'll just boost because we can. I guess. And so now we weren't going to get a tag because we went through on fewer than 3 cards in hand. If they had Snare money, this would be genuinely frightening. Knob Curry on... You think what I'm thinking? Okay, I'd rather steal that than a Fuji. We'll pay 1 to trash that. Steel skin in hand means we're pretty safe. So this is what we win now. If we just imp this, right? Because we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do we do this correct? We should imp this and then run archives. You think I'm pronouncing Phonotria correctly? Or Phoneutria? I don't think we die. I think we steal this because if it's a Fuji, we can imp it. Oh, okay. Now we have no decisions to make. So now we just run archives, right? We steal this, we go to 4, and then we win. Touch Fuji last, yeah, for sure. So we'll do House of Knives. We're on 4 points. Then we touch Fuji, and we win, and we don't have to worry about all the other agendas. Good game. Thanks. Me too. Yeah, and Fuji was sick. Yeah. Yeah, that was a super risky run. Thanks for your game. Cool. So like this kind of makes me feel the way that I normally feel about this deck is like this deck is really good at like maybe targeting one server. And if the corp can stabilize, I feel like we do struggle. Right? Like this is the point where they, you know, they didn't do this sooner than later. Obviously it's because they don't need to because they're a Jinteki PE deck. But if there's like 2 ice on each central server, I don't know what we do anymore. It's really hard. How many points in archives? Yeah, they fed a Sting, I believe. Yeah, I think they fed a Sting in there. So we threw in 2 house. We stole a House of Knives and a Blood, and then yeah, we did Fuji House, and there was a Sting in there, which makes sense. Like throwing out a Sting out is really hard to check archives when it does 3 damage. So luckily we didn't run until we win. There's 2 icy Trank or Hippo. Sure, it's just like our margins are so thin that it's like so easy for a surprise to come up, and luckily Imp deals with a lot of surprises. But you know what I mean? Like I think you're a big believer in your own deck. So excuse me. But it always feels like we're just like always just slightly 1 step ahead of a corporation, or we're far behind. I feel like there's no middle. There's like, oh, we're slightly 1 step ahead, and then they have to decide between pushing into a remote server and trying to close the game, or like closing the one like, you know, angle of aggress that we have, or we're in a really bad spot and we can't contest. Right? Like if another Oppo lands, it's gonna be tricky for them. Not that they can afford Oppo, but Tag Jinteki is kind of cool. We haven't got it to land. It's only 950. Okay, hear me out. This is something I wanted to try for a while, and it just probably seems appropriate to try this. I wanted to, and to see how it goes, because this is the sort of idea where I wanted to try this virus engine, because it's not so much that like I don't like Mulch. I think Mulch is sick. Not that I don't like them Loup deck. They'll Loup. This is the game I love. Yeah, right. It makes me anxious where we're only slightly like 1 step ahead of them, and it's always like at the just about like 1 bad Mavirus from you know losing everything. But a while ago I put this together and I haven't tried it out. And this is the sort of idea that we're playing this sort of virus shell, which is really successful right now. This sort of having access to Knob Curry, Simulchip, a cookbook, and like botchless and all that, all those friends. Except we're playing it in a slightly different shell that is a bit more like we're not playing Lagu. We're just playing the more consistent stuff. So we have Dirty Laundries, we have Sure Gambles, we have more of the like, you know, expected ways to interact with the deck. Is this deck 47 cards? Yeah, that's a problem. We probably should be looking at it. Are we playing Strike Fund? Even no, we're not. And we're not playing Audrey. We're playing Amakua, which maybe that. See, no, Audrey is definitely different. And I think Audrey is a big reason why you should play Strike Fund for sure. And then you should consider those packages with like labor rates and stuff like that. We're sort of doing labor rates mostly for Simulchip, but we're on Amakua. And for what it's worth, Amakua makes sense with a bunch of these engines. It's kind of really cool. It's still really bad into Mavirus. It also doesn't exactly work with the Imp. And I think we should be on 2 Imp. What are we moshing away? Just like steel skins and whatever we don't want. Literally anything. I did some test trials with the deck and we mosh basically whatever. I think the one thing I'm really jazzed about this deck is this card. And I know some of the mulch decks were trying this out and like genuinely seems pretty reasonable. In this deck, it's very easy to be installing 1 virus a turn for the last like 5 or 6 turns of the game. And this seems kind of cool for a pretty low cost of including this in your deck. So I want to try it out because it seems kind of fun. I think 47, we could go down to 45 to play daily cast. We can consider cutting the moshing, but card draw is really important for the deck. Just filling your bin, just like mulch, like filling your bin so Simulchips do something is kind of important. Like you'll mulch an early buzzsaw for sure. Augustina's Sacred Genesis tech. Yeah, I know. So is Sabotage. There's a lot of problems with that. But it seems kind of cool. Like, we want to try it out. I feel like there's something that we were missing this deck. Maybe it was the price, and now we're on the price. I know when I put this together, there was something I was like, why is that not in there? Is there anything obvious here? We would DJ Fenris for, you know, HQ pressure if we want it, which is quite nice. We just have Earthrise Hotel, Paladin Poema, 2 Kapuk. It's just like the same thing. I would argue that going to 2 imps might make sense. We probably should. Noise Light Wannabe? Yeah, exactly. Well, Augustina is, yeah. So we'll just give this a shot. This is meant to be the most reg Anarch we can play. Noise was too strong? I don't think Noise is too strong. I think Noise is really fun. I think Noise is basically on par, if not slightly behind what S is now. Are you drawing 2 cards a turn? Earthrise Hotel? Hosh? Earthrise Hotel mostly. And that's probably good enough. I genuinely think it's probably fine. Also, Steve Cambridge is a draw a turn, am I right? We did draw 2 cards a turn, though. That did feel good. That's for sure. New runner deck. That's right. He's playing Hoshiko. Everyone's favorite runner right now. People are so tired of Hoshiko. I don't know. Draws cards. We'll try this out for a bit, and then we'll see where we go from there. I think we're gonna play some. I think Yen's Respect deck's really good. Delenda Est. 48. Yeah, we're on 48. Big Hosh. We probably shouldn't be. I don't know whether we cut just the daily casts. I think they make our opening hands pretty easily playable, but you probably could cut some cards here for sure. We're playing 48 right now. It's not tuned, that's for sure. The Whenever a Noise was silly, Thomas, yeah. The Whenever a Noise was really silly. And for what it's worth, it allowed some really toxic decks, especially in early Noise life, where it's just like put all your stuff on back then we had a card that was Personal Workshop. It was like kind of like the closest is Palace Cafe. And then you just like overclock them off and just install like 5 things. Turan 4 played a really cool Built the Lost deck last week. I wonder if it's the same thing. Cool. Could be different. I'm expecting ganked. I know there's a gank deck, the Italian Ash. Seems like Tron 4's jam, maybe. This is the sort of opening hand that's like quintessentially Hosh. We have Moshing. In this hand, it is kind of ugly. But we have Dirty Laundry Paladin. So ideally, whatever we draw, we mosh into it. I don't want to mosh the Simulchip. Maybe the moshings are a bit suspect. Hey. Thanks, you too. But like just having Dirty Laundry Paladin Poemo seems really, really nice. Revolver's good if we think that there's a ganked play here. Like this is one of the best ways in the entire format to face check Revolver. Face check, sorry. Draft, we're gonna keep this. Cool, not a lot of viruses. Ace group to start. We're gonna face check into that for sure. Ice. We're just gonna run it. Hit us with an MIC. At least we can. We'll Dirty Laundry's R&D. Mulch. It's not a mulch. It's a gatekeeper. That's fine. We'd rather get that out of the way now. This does allow some fixes to hands if Tron wants. Tron shuffles back. Better for the Dirty Laundry. Shuffles back. Equa Project into. Okay. So that's res. That's fine. We can't really contest that. So I think it makes sense for us to do Paladin, then Dirty Laundry in case we steal an agenda. We could run HQ here. I think we probably should. I mean, but the Moshing price really screams out for Strike Fund. Yeah, but I don't know. I like when Strike Fund came out, I was not the biggest Strike Fund fan. And I want to see if that's the case or not. We're going to run HQ here. If there is a drafter, it's not that bad for us. Pays off. We could have got Paladin first. I think we can consider Dirty Laundering R&D first before the Paladin comes down, just so we can steal an Iqua and be on game point. And then we'll put the Paladin after. We will trash that. We'll put the Paladin. We're going to be on 7 credits. And these are the sort of top decks. Like these are the sort of games that why I like to play Hoshiko, that gives us that sort of ability to play the first turn. I know I've said this before, but a game might not have a late game. So building to a late game for me always feels, sometimes it doesn't come to fruition. So far in none of those games that we saw did we get to that sort of like late game Strike Fund engine. Rasheen to YDL gonna be sick here? Yeah, it'll be pretty good. It will be pretty all right. Top deck Steel Classic. It's not that unreasonable, right? Like, so they went through a fair few cards. You expected an agenda 1 in 5. They fired a Gatekeeper and shuffled back 1. That's a better recovery than YDL. Damn. Okay, cool. So Gatekeeper's hard for us to deal with. We're gonna lose a credit. I think we draw once and mosh that. It's a price. We're gonna mosh it. Did we mosh a Revolver? I think we moshed an early Simulchip. Okay. So we don't need to get an Axis here, but we could. With Rashid and Spin Doctor in the bin, we're a bit more scared of Drafter. We can get a Revolver down for that. 2 cards on the table is probably like Wage Workers into Score. I think that would be the worst case. On 11, they can afford to res a lot of ice. Aaron, how's it going? You back home? So what do we do here? Getting down the Fermenter is okay. We definitely go deeper into our deck. I think we can afford to get a run access to get a card into credit. I think charging server 2, we're a bit too late in the turn. So we'll run R&D here. We could have got the leech down first, but we kind of need breakers for that to be good. Oh, shit. I don't know what we're doing anymore. We're in uncharted territory, y'all. I am definitely going to put this in Revolver. I don't know what this is. What advanceable cards are there? You technically can mitosis with Asa, right? Like it works. I'm pretty sure. Fermenter, I feel like we just need to go faster. I think I'm going to go for the card draw here. That's good. Tron's cooking it for sure. Back home, still dealing with a fair bit of pain. Oh, hopefully you feel better soon, huh? It's good seeing you, eh? Just triple advance. It's a Vitruvius. We're feeling okay about that. Don't know what this is. If it was a Wage Workers, it probably would have been res. So Spin Doctor, most likely. We know mitosis in hand. Yeah, like NGO and mandatory upgrades. Mandatory upgrades, there's no way that exists anymore. We'll Steel Skin for something here. Okay. So we have a conduit. We could just start sending it, putting on some pressure. It's a bit expensive, but they really have to ice up R&D. We know they have a mitosis. Honestly, doesn't feel the worst. Fermenter seems really good on turn 2. Yeah, we probably should have put the Fermenter down. I'm worried that they're going to go a bit fast. But I think here we can probably slow down a bit and just do Sure Gamble, Fermenter, Earthrise, and just play like, you know, good stuff. Having this down a turn sooner would have been nice. I was worried we're going to be too slow, but the fact that they scored this out and not like a tempo positive 4-3, 4-2, I feel okay about it. I just know what the heck they're not going to mitosis out. Maybe they care about core damage. The game is never that fast? Yeah, maybe. It was a Rashida. Okay, they held. So they have mitosis and a whole bunch of nonsense. Well, cards we don't know. I'm assuming they're nonsense. What the heck are you mitosing? I guess NGO front, right? Hey Ian, how's it going? There's the mitosis. So 2 new servers. Each of these cards are gonna have double advancements on it. So we have to figure out what's the NGO front and then like what's the only trap in HB? Cerebral Overrider? This is 4 influence, mind you. If this was less influence, it'd be a really good tempo play in a whole lot of decks. That's a lot of value. So we have to assume they are a lot of money. For other viewers, Andre beat me up after flatline and turn 2 with a type. Let's get some card draw. Okay, we have Imp Knob Curie, so we are working on something, that's for sure. We don't have access to our breakers. We haven't found a botchless yet. I think we can do a Revolver check server 3. That's the one we're worried about. We're not really feeling virusy here. Night, Aaron. It's a Hagen. Bummer. We're going to lose our Fermenter to that. Jeff. We could have got the Simul chip down, but it doesn't really get us anything. So they res for 4. Lovely seeing you. Yeah, you too. Here we can swing HQ, I reckon. We could consider getting the Imp down and then swinging HQ just to get some damage in there. They might just score out something really big here. Now they have an NGO front actually, so this is a bit of a messed up run. Yeah, because they have way more money than we think they do. It's a Brawn. Okay, that's fine. That'll fire at least. The deck doesn't have hippos in it. We don't have any easy way to cheat through this. So let's see if they click to install something. It allows them to ASA, but I don't know if they ASA an upgrade on HQ. Andre hates Fermenter is what I'm learning from the stream. Well, it went. We installed it and it went. So let's see what this is. If they have a big agenda, right? Like they could be on game point here. It's an off-road. That mitosis was sick. Mitosis was 2 clicks to get 3 cards on a table. One of them was an NGO front. So they just paid 3 credits to get 8. And then they got an Opera Office. It was like undoubtedly really good. That's kind of awesome. We're a bit short on getting our breakers down, but we're like right at the point where if we establish our breakers, we can deal with this board in a pretty good way. It's unfortunate we put down a Revolver and we haven't found that drafter we break for 2 yet. HP going fast. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. This is going quite fast. We also didn't flip Hosh, which sucked. Okay, well, we mosh this hand. We don't need the Conduit now. We don't need the Leech. We don't need the Cookbook, unfortunately, just yet. I think we're going to get rid of this Labor Rights. We have another Labor Rights. We're going to lose before it matters. So we can do Botchless Run. It eats our Imp, which is not great. They put an upgrade there as well, which I kind of didn't notice, I'll be honest. Oh, man. They could win this turn. Well, struggling to do anything. But this is a hard ice to deal with on a virus deck regardless. So we have 1 Cleaver. We can do Cookbook Botchless Run. That's what we do. If it's a Mavirus, we lose something. Because we want to break both subroutines. If it's a Mavirus, they were forced to res here. At least they pay 3. It's a Mavirus. Okay. If we had a simul chip there, we could respond to it. We don't, so let's see what they trash. It's either the Imp or the Botulus. It's the Botulus. This is really bad for us. No! No way! The Luminal? Okay. Help? We haven't been Hoshiko for a while? Like, we have so much value, we can't even get it down. What do we do? Like, here we have to simul chip charge server 3 and then hope that that's not the win. Like, any of these could be the win. In fact, both of them could be the win. Oh my. All right, we'll check both of them, I guess. I think I'm gonna keep the revolver around. The Imp is obviously empty till we get the Knob Kree down, but we just don't have time to do anything. This is so fast. We're gonna break both of them. In theory, it just protects the Botulus, which, like, yeah, that's fine. Devin can say 3x Mavirus from a corporate upcoming CEOs. I agree. Like, you see how many times we hit by a Mavirus and like literally sets us back like 2.5 turns? It's a Nico. They don't have good money. Trashing this doesn't really change much on what we're capable on this turn. I will trash it. I think they'd rather put the win behind the Hagen than the Gatekeeper. We've seen 2 Rashidas. This could be anything. We need a draw. At least we got an access that turn. We can play a sure gamble here. I think we can't. I think we need a draw. We don't have our breakers. Second Knob Korea. Okay. But like, yeah, Seamless here is the game. Noobs and nerds, how's it going? Second Nico. That tracks. Welcome to the stream. We're playing like Virus, Hoshiko. It's going okay, I guess. The apologies on the Twitch side, mind you. YouTube chat's not coming through today for some reason. I don't know why. They're drawing up. We're now like, we lose to Biotic unless we get a simul chip down. We played 2 so far. We have 1 labor rights, 22 cards on stack. We might have wanted to play an early price. They didn't do anything here, which is good for us. There's a second labor rights. I wonder if we just play it. In terms of the things that can hit at the top of the deck, it's just steel skins. But notice so far, like, I don't think we've missed. And obviously it's because we built the deck around it, but we haven't missed the idea of Strike Fund. Huh. So dealing with the Nico is reasonable. I think we just need to find breakers. We could labor rights here. What would we shuffle back in? 2 simul chips. And I don't think we need another later rights. I think the game's over. We're only on 2, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check real quick. I think it's this. Yeah, we're on 2 labor rights, so that's fine. Thinking. So we have 1 Buzzsaw. We have 2 Botulus. I think we can draw once here. Fenris behind a Brawn is really difficult. We have no way to de-res this. We have Chisel in the deck, mind you, and Chisel's kind of something. It's going to take a while for that to be something. I think we might be able to flip in and flip out and just hope they don't have it. So we can draw once more. We can discard a couple for sure. Augustina's feeling a bit slow here, but genuinely kind of fun. We just don't use it this turn. So we might be able to do Sure Gamble Daily Cast. If that's the case, though, I think we run Archives. Oh, we might as well draw a card at that point. So then we just do Sure Gamble Daily Casts. And hope that's enough. Discard a Knob Korea. Cool. So whatever shift they push out, the Nico's still worth trashing. They're still drawing. Server 2 double ice can be hard for us for sure. We only have 1 breaker so far. Single advance as well. And we know they're on NGO front, which is a tricky place to be in. We didn't get the card draw there. Instead, we put them in daily cast, which might have been wrong considering we understand they can just jam next turn. We're in a really bad spot here. Like incredibly bad. We just haven't found breakers. Draw. Okay. Price. Buzzsaw, Cookbook, Chisel, Botulus. I think we have to get the Buzzsaw down. Comes in for free. So we have a Botulus in the bin. We need to contest this right now. We need to find our Fractor. If we labor rights, there's no way we can get our Fractor. So I think I have to run this and just hope there's not a Hagen there. Generally the barriers, like if they res a 6 cost Brawn, I think we're okay. If they res a Hagen, they're still on 5. It's not great. I think we have to run here and just hope it's Sentry Codegate, of which we've seen less of those than anything else. We have a click left so we can deal with Iqua in case it's Iqua Seamless. We're hoping for magnets. Gatekeeper, mind you, we break for 11, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to lose the game. I think this is more likely an NGO front. No further? Okay, so this is probably a barrier. Ablative fires here. Show me a big one. It's an energy front. Fantastic. So a tier? What do you got? Nothing. Great. So we don't lose. That's good. Now the access on archives is a click and a credit, so we're going to go for it. And we're getting there at building a breaker suite. They didn't res, which means it's probably a gatekeeper. Mavirus purge is fine. We actually could run R&D. The only thing that blows us out there is ablative. The R&D access would be much better than archives. The Bosch's purge is like a bit annoying. Nico draw, install advance. Okay. Now we have a problem. So we need to top deck exactly a fractor here that makes sense. They saved a credit. Phenomenal. That's probably a magnet. Okay. So assuming one of these is a barrier, we have, in terms of draws from our deck, we can draw a simulchip. We can draw the fractor itself. We can draw a price. Checking. Yeah. We can draw a botulus. We draw. We can also labor rights, which is the same as clicking for draw, but it can shuffle 3 targets back in. Yeah, labor rights seems a bit better here. So just to know, we trashed Earthrise, Fermenter, and the price, so results-oriented thinking. And we can shuffle back in simulchip, and then I guess a botulus. Sick, it worked. So then we do simulchip run. We still have a click and 2 credits left to contest. We don't have a fractor, so if it's 2 barriers in a row, we have a problem. Price is good too. Yeah, price is a bit too slow. Okay, so I think we have to botulus this because breaking this is 10 credits. Huh, can we just break this for 10 credits? If we break this for 10 credits, we're hedging that the innermost is not a barrier. Break for 10? I don't think we break for 10. I think we botulus this. I think you got to break with Buzz though. I don't think we do. If that was an NGO front, would they have not rezzed a big barrier? Like they would have rezzed a Hagen here. They would have rezzed an ablative there. You're going to eat a Brawn? But this card was there before. Why would they not res the Brawn the turn before to protect the NGO front? You know what I mean? How many NGO in their archives? 2. No matter what, we have to go for it. I don't know. I think we just botulus this. Why would they protect an NGO? Because they only had a single advance on it. And why not? If we click through the Brawn, they gain an advantage. This is a fake. We can't call this as a fake. It's more likely not to be a fake because we can't break Gatekeeper and they know it. I don't think we break this for 10. I will. But I'm not convinced. We'll see. We'll see if we get punished here. We always need to keep money here. Tell me about it. Because I think this is a barrier they would have rezzed the last turn. Well, we're cooked anyways. Actually, no, yeah. This was wrong. Because of this, and this makes sense, we definitely should have botulus this. Results oriented. But yeah, this one we break a fair bit cheaper. Shit, this is more likely to what we would expect on the remote server. Is an MIC Gatekeeper. I don't think it was a barrier. Yeah, break for 10 wasn't correct. Because this thing, we break for 5 to break all of it, and then we don't have any. Yeah, we have to let this fire and hope it's a thing. Wait, hold on. You still have laundry and a ticking casts? I'm aware. But like the chance of this being a big barrier was super unlikely. Like this is the thing that we lose to. Sorry, thinking it didn't matter. No, I don't think it's right. I just don't think it makes sense for them to have a barrier here. They would have rezzed it before. Anyways, if we want to simulchip this, we can break the end of the run subroutine. Then we lose the clicks. If we lose the clicks, we can't deal with the thing. You can still botulus that, but you can't steal it. Yeah, we can still botulus this, but then we can't steal the Ikua. And no matter what, even if we go through this, if it's an Ikua, they pop the MIC. So the only line here that doesn't like 100% throw the game is that we botulus through this, and then we hope it's not an Ikua. Because anything else loses the game unless it's an NGO front. So I'm going to do it, because it could just be like a normal agenda looking like an Ikua. MIC means you'll be unable to steal Ikua either? Yep. Yeah, cool. But yeah, I still think we don't break this for 10, we break this for 5, and we're still boned. We're just slightly too hard. Yeah, they trash MSC. Yeah, no matter what, we don't get through there, but I don't think we break the outermost for 10. Good game. Yo, that was wild fast. Yeah, that was really fast. Mind you, this is turn 10. That's pretty good. They had to score out a lot of agenda points, but we drew like the daily cast and the value stuff when we wanted to just push ourselves forwards. I think this kind of proves where like if you're playing this sort of, you know, trash forward deck, that like cards like daily cast, maybe you don't have time for it. And like we're trying to find at this win point, but like I don't think we can expect a faster corp than that. Yeah, I saw that. That was such a wild mitosis. Chisel was the winning line where you can break both for 2 credits. Wait, Chisel's really cool. If we MSC Chisel, we can break this for 2 credits. It's still not the line. But the idea that we could have chiseled the MIC is something we have to keep in mind. That is really cool because it comes in with the chisels -2 strength, so it's 2 we break. That is really neat. Yeah. No matter what, we're not getting it. We just ran too late in the turn. But so having not money, 15 2 points. So yeah. Amazing. Yeah, my doses for 4 influence is pretty wild, and you don't see a lot of NG fronts in Ace group decks. I think it's like, you know, the sort of card you see more in Atea because you can get it down clicklessly, and here's kind of cool. And especially, I don't think the Ace group decks, they do feel like they kind of need some money. Thanks for the game. That was wild. All right, let's run that back. Could Leech to reduce the strength maybe? Leech would have reduced the strength by 1 too. Yeah, that's right. Leech would save 3 credits there. But at the end of the day, yeah, it didn't actually matter because of the click stuff. But Con, how's it going? Let's run that back. Hey, Maddie. Yeah, how many decks have I put together that's like has mitosis in it? Or sorry, wants mitosis. You play like Trap NBN and you realize 4 influence is so much. Man, back in the day, Mushin Ocean was like 2 influence, right? I'm worried that this deck is Yan's outfit deck. Yan's outfit deck, actually it was bigger than this, but like I was surprised to see, we should pull this up after. But the sort of deck that Whiteblade played against us, I believe on Tuesday, I thought it was like a real goofy deck, but that is just Yan's like mutually assured destruction deck, but bigger. And it honestly seems kind of reasonable, as wild as it. Jai took a mulligan there, so we have to figure out what sort of outfit this is. This opening hand, like Labor Rate's not great. Botchos is pretty reasonable. Imp is good for the disruption. Amaku is kind of hard to play with 6 strength ice. We're assuming there's some amount of viruses. And the Sure Gamble's not bad either. We could do just Sure Gamble, Imp, run Central. I think that's worth considering. Unfortunately, Imp Amaku doesn't make sense. And that's where, like, you know, the slot of Audrey makes a lot more sense. Because they both do the same thing. These two definitely compete with one another. But if we're losing to Mavirus, like, counting on Amaku, it seems a bit maybe suspect. I do think Cookbook Amaku is kind of cool. Especially if you simul chip it in and it comes to 1 strength. Like, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right, Giant Mold. Too big to fail, Ice HQ. Let's go. Mulligan or Imp. We'll find out what outfit deck this is. We'll definitely Imp that. Are we going to go back? I don't know if I really value a single access here with this hand. We need a better hand than this to win the game, so I'm going to draw. Price is good early. I don't know what the best hit is. Like a Knob Kree here would be kind of okay. Cookbook, unfortunately, for the price, not also that bad either. We got their siege capabilities down. Spin Doctor open. It looks like a bit of an ugly open. We have to assume that, the Spin Doctor will fix it, but often outfit can draw really, really ugly. Regulatory captures, they just pull in hand for sure. So getting some pressure on HQ. Defensive upgrade on HQ. Not actually sure, like probably Angelique, right? Trebuchet on defense? Yeah, right? Or defensive siege weapon. I'm assuming this is Angelique, which might make this more lady kill than anything else. Click for credit, so they're going to discard a card here. If we want to Imp, we want to contest a Spin Doctor, then we want to contest Archives, then we contest R&D. Spin Doctor shuffles, we don't have to contest Archives. What does the price get us? So we're going to deal with the Spin Doctor first, then we can price for potentially a Knob Curie. They're going to crack that for sure. So shuffle the face down in the Trebuchet. So now we can price for something that helps us. Earthrise, Simulchip, Augustina. What do y'all think? I think Earthrise makes way more sense for 1 credit. Augustina is probably a bit too much right now when we just need card draw. I'm going to go for the Earthrise, unfortunately. We're on R&D. Steal that. We can go back. Imping this, if they're on big deal, seems reasonable. It's not the most important imp, but we'll take it. Earthrise Hotel is like a really good price hit. This for 1 credit is quite nice with the deck thinning as well. Like it functionally draws, you know, you could argue, what is it, 9 cards? Not exactly, but that's a lot. Second Spin Doctor. Now you do this before you put ice down for sure, but I wonder if Jai is struggling again. Like this could be the too big to fail decks, or sorry, the big deal decks, which don't really play in the remote server. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so card on the remote server above the law is pretty nasty. We have a botch list to deal with it as much as we don't have a cookbook. So if it's 2 subroutines, your deck is not designed for the remote server. This deck? You don't think? I think so. Why not? And then they push. So they could, in theory, we could contest the Spin Doctor, and then if we don't, they push out like Atlas Audacity. Having a clot just on the table before they score a hostile is reasonable, as much as it doesn't contest this. I don't think we want to do like double Bonchless on this. I think we could face check into this. We've seen technically a Trebuchet go back into the deck, so it lowers it. But we could consider contesting this. Elwin, how's it going? To some extent, like if we run Spin Doctor, they probably won't let us, we'll be forced to trash it. We trash it for 1 credit, that's not too bad. And we might take a turn off here to put like daily cast down. We can cook a Botchless on the HQ again. I think that has to be Angelique. I don't know if the deck's on Crisium. I don't know why you'd Crisium HQ against Hosh. But this is only bad if it's an Audacity into something, or if it's a Rashida, of course. Now, if we run it, Valenciao is not great. At least we get through with Botchless, and we can trash a Rashida. If it's, I think, yeah, we can't just Botchless run. It's fine. It gives them bad publicity, but we like the bad publicity, and then we can still just like put down daily cast if we don't access. You do better if they go wide and not deep. We're not bad at deep at all. It's just we need to get to the point where we have like Simul Chip, Botchless, or like Leech and then bin breakers. Or not bin breakers, like fixed strength breakers, excuse me. But this sort of matchup, like if they do 2 or ice or 3 ice, if you're on Botchless Cookbook, you actually have a pretty reasonable matchup. Oh, Sandstone. Okay, well, that's pretty good, I guess. Tonight's theme, we're playing some virus decks. So we opened with the Loup deck, the Decklist of the Week. This is just like kind of more reg Hoshiko with a virus package. Let's get for free. Fuck, it's a virus, that's fine. That's totally fine. Will we trash this? Yeah, well, of course we will. So now we've accessed, so we don't actually want to do credit because daily cast credit, we're gonna lose the credit. There's no way really around that though. I think we can consider contesting the Spin Doctor. Unfortunately, the Mavirus might go back. I think they want to poison archives. But now we don't need to contest the Spin Doctor. I just don't want to do like daily cast credit because as soon as we click for a credit here, we lose it to Hoshiko, which is not good. I don't think we have a way around it unless we do draw and discard the Clot. That's probably fine. We can just discard the worst card here. It will probably be Clot in the bin. We could install this. We don't really have the money to do it. But getting Clot on the table while they don't have a hostile is pretty good for the early game. As much as we did just find him a virus. So maybe that's not a great long-term solution. Yeah, we've only played 1 deck with this so far, and we played against a really, really fast Acer group deck that we weren't able to get like the sort of engine up. But here we want to translate probably to like Nomkuri technically. We just need to get deeper. I want to play Augustina real bad. We haven't installed the virus. This would have fired this turn, excuse me. They only had 1 ice and a win on HQ, which like is really telling because they shuffled 1 face down card back. But the Jai looks like he has a really ugly start. So I wonder again if the red caps are in there. Again, if we think this is Angelique, then this is probably more closer to Lady Killer. So far, every card is. Actually, I don't know. Was government subsidy in Lady Killer? I think it was. But at least we know where a Sandstone is. Trojan Horse. Okay. This is different. This is probably one of the rig destruction ones. So trace to 4. We can't really boost. They're going to trash the Botchless, I guess. That seems pretty low impact. I love that Loup deck. I had an IRL game where I used all my virus counter power counters and started using advancing counters of viruses. Why didn't they purge? Neto, how's it going? Here, ordering, we do Hoshiko first, then we'll do Earthrise, and then we'll do DECKLISTS. So this turn we don't really want to run. I think we're okay flipping back and forward. Fermenter, we don't have a lot of credits here, unfortunately. So we can just do like Simulchip Fermenter. It's nice to have the Simulchip on the table. I don't know if we're going to Trojan Horse again, but this probably looks like a Rig Destruction deck. I think I saw a version of the outfit that was only on barriers and sentries on DB, which could be this list. And then just runs like Trojan Horses and SDSs, of course. But it only had barriers and sentries, had no code gates in it, which to me is a bit interesting. I think if you're going to try to do Rig Shooter, you might as well have one end to run code gate. I think Simulchip Fermenter click for 2 credits is kind of fine here. We don't need the second labor rates in hand. I wish we had a cookbook. Credit. It's a bit slow. That's okay. The Mavirus did so much in that match. Getting to trash your Fermenter and your bot with Hagen was huge. Oh yeah, yo, it's really, really bad. Even the Hagen face check is like surprisingly bad. Jeff was like saying in chat I should have got the Fermenter down, and maybe we should have got down a turn before. But yeah, the Hagen face check is potentially really quite rough. Jai did the Spin Doctor after mandatory draw, right? So that's a third Spin Doctor. Whoa. Yeah, I'm assuming that this has to be Rig Destruction. So the Simulchips are going to be super valuable. We've already lost one, unfortunately, to the price. But we have labor rates as well. So we have a lot of like ways to grind back value. And the Sentry Breaker, the Revolver is going to be taxed out real hard. Ice R&D. Mind you with 2 bad publicity. Or sorry, 1 bet. Cute. So they res the Mavirus so that they would be able to play the Too Big to Fail. That's good that we know it's there. So do Earthrise, DECKLISTS action. And we should just ask for action on any window here. Ideally, we only crack the Fermenter right before it just matters. We would love a Paladin here. Amaku is also kind of nice into this matchup as much as we've seen one Mavirus got shuffled back, right? And a Trojan Horse, yeah. So if we access archives as soon as this turn, we can get purged out. Or Trojan Horsed out, excuse me. So we can always trash Spin Doctor for free. I think that's an okay start. If we want to get the Knob Curry down, we can do credit Knob Curry. And that means that we can charge the Fermenter and then they could purge. I think we can consider doing that. If they pop the Spin Doctor, though, we don't get the Knob Curry. We can always just run archives. We want to run archives because we want to flip. Yeah, the Moshings don't seem that great here. But that's specifically because they care about our breakers. Trojan Horse is just a program, right? I guess we can't tell unless we look in the chat log. Its condition is if you've accessed a card. Yeah. So we haven't accessed a card yet. We do want to run archives. It lets us charge a Knob Curry. They could Mavirus whenever they want. If they Mavirus now, as opposed to when we were running and needing the Boshless, I think we're okay with it. And by now, I mean like the beginning of next turn when this has 5 counters on it. I don't think we need the Imp. And we're going to discard a card here. I'm going to get rid of the Moshing. We're going to draw a card off of Hoshiko. Yay. Like this whole suite of older cards which just like trace something, destroy a card. This is the first time someone's played Escape Net on me, but yeah, this is just going to eat up our Simulchips. This is not fun. We're not playing anything. So Escape Net, the opposite to Foxfire. Remove an installed chip or virtual card from the game on Trace 7. I just don't understand why there's a trace on this. Like they just wanted to be interactive, but like who's paying 6 credits to protect a chip? This, mind you, is like pretty reasonable right now into twinning. Like if you're playing HB and you want to not lose to twinning, get rid of this. Yo, Kira, how's it going? Is this though? I think I saw one online. It might have been yours, right? That was like Rig Shooter outfit. Some runners are filthy rich, sure, but then this card's unplayable, right? Like maybe you play it so they pay 7, you pay 1, but they generally don't. Okay, card in their Mozart. Still have to do with the Mavirus. They purge now. Okay, I was just gonna ask. Cool. Oh, it's not public? Okay. It's the biggest trace in Netrunner? Oh, you're right, D. That must be the biggest trace in Netrunner. Cool. Okay. So we need to deal with this. We threw out the Moshing. We could have Moshing for this Steel Skin. Would have been reasonable. Archives is now poisoned. Foxfire? Yeah, Foxfire. Do you know Foxfire Not Dead? You can see it on the page right now. I think, like, if this is an SDS, it's a bit hard to score out. It could be absolute counter. I think we can contest this. We definitely want to run Archives, but Knobcree Fermenter gets eaten by the Mavirus. And I don't think this is like, this is expected. But so far, I think every single deck we played in tonight, playing a virus-based deck, are running multiple Mavirus. I think this deck is on 3. I think the deck we played in before was on 2. I think the deck before that is on 2. And I think the deck we played before that is on 3. If you ask me, I don't know if I play a virus deck. It seems so hard right now. I think like every corp deck we're playing on is on multiple Mavirus. I don't know if people are queuing into this because they know what we're up to, but that's not unexpected. That's what the meta looks like. I just don't know how to carve out of this because if we don't have viruses, we don't have a game plan. Yeah, Alpha is almost always on 3. Op is almost always on 3. A lot of the ASA group decks are on 2. The Jinteki decks are usually on 2, especially the damage ones. Like it's kind of everywhere. But this is rough. Now we face check if it's a trebuchet. I don't think at least we mind. Losing the Knobcree is not good. I was essentially on 2. Yeah, I guess. I never run a deck without at least 1. Yep, I'm with you on that. Which makes, again, engines like this pretty tricky as much as you do still win. Steel Skin. Okay, so price goes a bit deep into our deck. Sandstone's hard to deal with just a cleaver. I don't know if they're going to score out an SDS here. Now we drew into our moshing, which is kind of ugly. Like, this is the sort of now where I get really frustrated because we can't make a play. I don't know how to make a play here. And that's because Trebuchet is just a bit too punishing on the face check. And Valenchao is also not good. Now, we know that this is unlikely to be a Trebuchet. I think running HQ is kind of reasonable. If it's a Valenchao, it's like just not good for us. But it's also not bad. The thing is, like on 16, they can res just about any ice, and we just don't have a way to make forward momentum. Like, I think it's probably botchless run HQ. That's the only thing that we can do something that feels like a play. So we will. It's a trebuchet. We found one. That's annoying. At least we can break one of the subroutines and we'll still get a Knobcree. This trace we can't really beat. With bad publicity, eventually it's doable, especially because we have Link. Breach, we're going to Knobcree, I think the Fermenter here. Good to know. That makes sense. It's in hand. They're on 3 bad publicity. We're on 1 credit. Clicking for credit here is actually quite bad. Trace is going to be completely phased out. I'd assume so. NSG hasn't really said it specifically, but like they haven't printed a Trace card since Ashes, so I wouldn't be surprised if Trace is just gone. Yeah, right? Yeah, okay. So Conduit, we don't need the Knobcree. The price is fine. Clicking for credit here is just bad though. That's the unfortunate thing. It's just it doesn't do anything. A cookbook would have been really good. We could have got there, gone on 3 points. Yeah, this is rough. Clicking for credit to Hoshiko's not good. There's a chance we should have jacked out actually because the access was really bad. Oh, but we got a Knobcree Fermenter. It wasn't the worst. Did we just draw? I think we just draw. Okay. So we'll get rid of the moshing. We'll get rid of the Knobcree. Get rid of 1 more card here. I think Amakua is going to be pretty difficult to play with the amount of viruses in this deck. As much as it's sometimes nice to have a virus, like another way to attack, considering they're playing Rig Destruction. I'll get rid of the price. What I've heard is that it won't be phased out, just won't be evergreen anymore, so it'll exist in some sets. Cool. It's super wild, the amount of prominence. Hostile, okay. So now they're in board bad publicity, so now we just have to send it HQ at all costs. Because this could be a regulatory capture, considering how ugly the opening hand was. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a regulatory capture. Our Clot is in the bin, so we have to get that in with Simulchip. We have 2 and 22. Running HQ is technically possible, but we have to commit 2 Botchless to the same piece of ice, which means they'll probably overinstall it. We don't have any Hippos in the deck, and I honestly would like to have a Hippo in the deck. But if that's a red cap, or the hand's a red cap, not good for us. Only 1 chip left, 1 got eaten. Oh, you're right. The other one's out of the game. Surely knobbing Botchless is better there, right? If I plan to return, yeah. I should have, yeah. Yeah, if we Botchless that, sorry, if we Knobcreed that, we could have gone back. Now it's a struggle. That was probably incorrect to get more money on the Fermenter, as much as we are gutted. Yeah, Scapegoat and RFGs. It's so great. Fuck. It's cards like this that I'm so excited don't see a lot of play, because this sort of thing they're just saying like, oh, I got you. I don't know. It doesn't feel good. Like, there's no way to beat this. There's literally no way to beat it. Like, paying 6 for this is not great. It's like you just lost on deck construction. And that's always when I get really anxious. We're not at that point with a meta, but when you go to an event, think like if I bring the wrong deck, right? Like it's maybe if you show up with criminal right now and like 30% of the field's playing rig shooter. Like some of those games are over before decisions matter. Okay, how do we not tilt here? So going into HQ on the trebuchet, we can draw into the revolver. Keep whispering to Jai throughout the night, but what if I include escape net? Twinning is also pretty silly. Oh, twinning is pretty silly, but the answer to twinning isn't escape net exists, right? Like I think twinning is super powerful, that's for sure. But if the answer is they just play a card and the card disappears, right? Like that's Yu-Gi-Oh, isn't it? So we need to figure out how to get into HQ or get a simul chip so we can get a claw. We have one more simul chip in 22. We just have no forward momentum here. I think we just take a turn off and let them score up to 3 points. We can do Paladin Fermenter. If they score, they don't purge. The Fermenter's not that great. Make Netrunner Yu-Gi-Oh. We gotta go deeper. Leech doesn't really matter. The Maviruses are everywhere. Help. We can go HQ next turn. We can run the remote server maybe next turn. 20 credits. There's nothing like the Trebuchet Trace, mind you, is kind of interesting when we have 1, 2 Link, and 4 Bad Publicity. They can spend some money on it. You can still get an HQ and imp the agenda. No, because we can't steal or trash corp cards of the Trace fires. If the Trebuchet fires, they could botchless the imp or the Knobkree or the botchless. All of them are relatively bad. This is too slow, right? Like if we do Paladin here, move into town square. Wait, you know what? I can't read it. It's covered, Brennan. It seems like a funny and call it the Trebuchet. Oh, very good, very good. Yes. I don't think I'd want to call it a Trebuchet though. Like Fermenter seems too slow here too. Leech is kind of useless. Amakua makes no sense with the rest of the deck. I think we want to do credit Fermenter maybe, but like again, yeah, whatever. It's time to doof. Yeah, that's not gonna do much for us. So here, if they score the 1 from hand, that alleviates pressure. They are going to. And so now the card on their remote server, I think, is a regulatory capture. They might have another one in hand. Our opening draw was so awkward that it might not be surprising they have another one in hand. So here to be safe, I think we do crack the Fermenter. Just because we hit a Mavirus, we don't want to lose the whole damn game. We just want to lose most of the game. So we can crack the Fermenter. Can we consider this remote server? Not really. Let's draw once. Okay, that makes that run a bit better. Okay, get it on the imp. Cool. For what it's worth, we don't actually care about this. We have one more simul chip. I guess we imp it because we're here, but like, whatever. Double escape net. I don't know. They're going to be on game point next turn. Technically, it's worth something because of simul chip, yeah. Okay. Another virus into this? I don't think so. Amakua Leech actually is like something that we could consider doing. I think Daily Cast is probably nothing. It comes in with Paladin, but whatever. 2 escape net splash. I know. Getting card counter. It's rough. It's like 3 Mavirus, 2 escape net. I don't know if we can do anything. See, that's another regular. Oh, it's Alice with a counter. Okay, so at least the game is over next turn. But like these games are not close. Like we haven't played a game that felt really close, at least with this deck. And I don't know what to say about it. I think there's too many Maviruses for us to consider any part of this. All right, well, we don't respect anything anymore. That's for sure. If this is a Balan Chow, they'll res it for 3 credits. Yeah, they're down on 12. We're at 11 plus 4 bad publicity, so we're at 15. We go down to 12, they go up. So we have to do sure gamble run. I think we just have to do this. Like, there's no way that this is good for us. But maybe. Yeah, simply find 6 off the top is it. John, how's it going? I think I did the math okay. Not rezzing. Again, here they don't have a real reason to. We only have 2 clicks. We have to see a lot of cards really quickly. We can either Knobkree the Imp or the Conduit. Technically, the Conduit is more likely to win the game. because we had to steal a lot of points. On the last run, they just pulled the agenda to the hand. Okay. So you're saying we can win. Why didn't they res? It must be an archer. Oh, hold on. This has to be an archer. Right? So here you pulled the regulatory capture back. We see 2 cards. There's a small chance we win, but not after you pull the Atlas. Like, the chance of us winning here is super, super low. It's our best odds, though. Good game. I'm done. Remind me to start playing viruses next year again. Yikes. Yeah, this deck has 3 Mavirus in it. It is so rough when you access a card and it just turns off everything you do. And like, I don't think it's a counter queue thing. I think there's just so much Mavirus right now that I don't think I want to play any more viruses. Thanks for the game, eh? Yeah, man. Cards like Trojan Horse and cards like Escape Net, I think have the chance of being like really unfun potentially. Where it's just like, it's a credit check, and if not, you lose the game, right? And some of the credit checks, like at least the money that you have to succeed by on the trace on Trojan Horse has been more interesting. But right, if they can Trojan Horse your stuff, and then the only option is recursion, and then like you can't simul chip unless you do it aggressively on the spot, it's real rough. I think if you knob the botchu, the turn you can snipe the first red cap. Oh, for sure. Yeah. If we were able to steal the first red cap, that puts them off of like, you know, the cascade in the game. So it was a small, like relatively unassuming misplay that was really important, but that's only because we hit the red cap, right? Like if we didn't hit the red cap on the 1 and 5, we don't. It's like it had to line up really right for us to get punished, and it was always strictly wrong, but we did get punished. Hey, catch you around. Thanks again, eh? Yeah, stealing red cap would have been good, because then they actually have to consider the remote server. But if we look at our stack, like what does it take for us to get into the remote server? We have a buzzsaw, we have a cleaver, but for the rest of the game, we always have to access with more money than them. Otherwise, we lose the buzzsaw and we lose the cleaver. If we lose the buzzsaw or the cleaver, we have the labor rights in hand and we have the simul chip, so we have the chance. But these games are still relatively quick. Like we thought that other game was super quick. This is still turn 10, right? Like this is turn 10. And trying to make your, you know, your engine work where we literally get all our breakers down and then deal with all those threats is really difficult by turn 10. And we still can't do it. Escape Net and Trojan work on the same trigger? Yeah, 100%. So like you can do them both in the same turn, and they generally don't boost into the Escape Net, so like you're safe to do them in that order. And you want to do the Escape Net first, because you want to trash the simul chip and then trash the breaker so they can't just respond to it before you play the Escape Net. Yeah, it's like that is really fast. And we didn't even hit any really bad face checks, so maybe we're a bit too conservative about it. Maybe we just have to slam sooner. Maybe the opening hand was not worth keeping. Anyways, I'm getting salty. I don't know about it. That's not feeling good. I don't feel like we played a game there. But again, I don't think the deck is really well thought out. Let's play a deck that I know 100% works. So, Yan played this deck at Italian Nationals, coming in second. We talked a bit about the finals. Yan did really well. Yan played some really cool decks at the team tournament before. But this is the sort of deck that is really surprising that we haven't seen it in a while. I think the last time I saw Neurospike do well is Solomir was playing one at an event on the West Coast and did really well with it. And if you haven't seen this combo is kind of unique. Re-Education is a 5/3 and says when you score Re-Education, not when it's stolen, but when you score it, you can add a number of cards from HQ to the bottom of your deck, and then you draw that same amount of cards. So that on its ability is not very interesting. A lot of people don't play for that, but the bottom text is more important. How many cards you add to the bottom of the deck, the runner has to do the same from their grip to the bottom of their deck, but they don't redraw. So the idea is that if we have at least one click left on our turn, if we can just do score the Re-Education and we can bottom 5 cards from our hand. In fact, you only have to bottom 3 cards in your hand in most matchups. The runner will only have 2 cards in their hand because 5 goes down to 2. Got it. Once they're on 2, you just play a Neurospike and they die. And this is a really hard thing to play around. Even things like Stone Chip Chart Room can be beat by having more cards in hand at start of turn, by having multiple Neurospikes, and the ice is really rude. And I commentated one of the games against this in a top, and it's hard to tell because Asmari, mind you, is playing 44 cards, 6 agendas. That's a pretty cursed agenda suite. And I'd argue right now this agenda suite is better than it's ever been, because back in the day when we're seeing a lot of the sort of like 6 3-pointers steal half the agendas in the deck, which was maybe last competitive season, last summer, is that a lot of people were still playing Stargate and they're playing Mad Dash. So this sort of agenda suite had downside. But I don't think there's any deck right now in the modern meta that can interact with this agenda suite favorably. because you need to find half the agendas in the deck to win before they can assemble re-education in the remote server. Now, when I was commenting this, I didn't realize it was re-education. I probably should have seen it a bit sooner on. We found out before it fired, because the way that Yan played it, it just iced up the remote server and left centrals open. When I sit down across from Asmari, I assume that we're going to be on Asmari Glacier, which does still play this ridiculous agenda suite. They don't play re-education, they play another agenda that makes more sense, and then they score out their final point with something called Echo Chamber. Some decks back in the day were also on that tag one that gives you another card. I don't know what it's called, Backroom Machinations. But the idea is that they score out 2 agendas and then cheat out an agenda point. Well, you have to steal 3, and that's really, really, really difficult. And there's some really cool things with this deck. Firstly, Hydra is a face check for 5 credits. If they can res it, that's messed up. Nobody breaks this easily. You have to break this easily. And then all the other ice is pretty taxing. I think Wraparound's in a relatively good spot right now. It, gets cheated through by very few things that cheat through ice. Botches is pretty good. It's really good into Hadri. Ooh, it's good into Hadri. It's good into Slap Vandal. And then Mess and Chesto can be taxing as much as advancing this might be a bit too slow. And then Toll Booth is expensive, but nobody deals with it relatively well at all. I don't know why there's a rhyme in the deck. I don't. I think it's to like put us in front of things so it doesn't get ban hard. I don't know why we wouldn't play pop-up window. I don't know if the ice number matters. Non-equivalent exchange in the Hydra is ridiculous in turn 1. Yeah, we saw a bunch of the Asmari Glacier decks back in the day play 3 non-equivalent exchanges, and it might be correct. It might actually be better than Hedge Fund. The deck is on Predictive Planogram, and I think this card is actually really important because Predictive Planogram is one of the cards that you play Predictive Planogram, Seamless, and then you can have like 8 cards in hand going into the re-education, and then you can kill runners even on like Stone Ship chart rooms and a lot of cards in hand. So this makes a lot of sense to me, let alone the deck aggressively needs to get the re-education in the remote server. We have Seamless Launch, so you can advance the card quicker, because as soon as like turn 2, in theory, if you don't run the remote server, install Advance, you think it's a blown or an NGO front, and you don't run it, they do Seamless re-education, you die. It's that simple. Seamless re-education, you die. And barring some of the central pressure from things like Imp, it's funny enough that like viruses are actually really good into this. A diversion of funds can be a bit annoying, but if we just play against like, I don't know, criminals, maybe annoying. Hermes is a problem, that's for sure. If we can get some stuff in the remote server, we're in a pretty good spot. We have NGOs, we have Rashidas, and that's it. It's really neat, and I think this deck is good. And my favorite part of the deck is NABD Cordon. Oh my god, is NABD Cordon so cool? Because there's a lot of turns, especially if the runner's playing some sort of tech where they have card draw, you need to like quad advance the card and play NABD Cordon. And if you play NABD Cordon, not only does it protect all your agendas across all central servers, but to run a quad advanced remote server where you're planning to do like advanced re-education, neurospike, if you need to for some reason, they have to pay 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 credits to steal the agenda after getting through all your ice. Now, of course, Imp could be a problem. I think there are some harder matchups, but the fact that people aren't playing Stargate, this agenda suite's messed up. I also want to make it clear that this deck has very little way to actually win the game by scoring out points, because they also have to score at 9 points and they don't have defensive upgrades. So heaven forbid the Shaper does get down their whole breaker suite. And mind you, I don't think late game Shapers deal with Hydra well for most of the game, because if you're doing on Echelon Turbine, how do you break Hydra? Generally don't know. This seems to be in a reasonable spot. I think this deck is better than it is, and I think the wildest cherry on the top, there are no new cards in this list. There's not a single card from the Dominant Initiative, right? No, there's not. And this is an archetype that's been around for a while. And just like I haven't seen anybody. I know other people were playing like versions of re-education with Jupestad. I know Yan called it out. I wrote Jupestad because I said Yan. We're running this combo too, which technically works. This works too. If you score re-education, do a core damage, as long as you can get the runner to no cards in hand. This is lethal. Nobody has core damage protection. And it technically plays around Stone Ship in interesting ways. More accurate thing is to say maybe Tuno. Oh, Yan means person in Tokipona. I don't know what Tokipona is. Maybe it's accurate to say Tuna. Thank you. I appreciate that correction. Let's give it a shot. It's cool. It's really hard to tech again. I think Hermes is maybe like one of the strongest things into this. Because if you can Hermes the remote server, and still there's not a lot of agendas in the deck, and you can protect them with Cordon. So like stealing a blown off a central server being 9 credits it's definitely something. Could run YDL. You could run YDL, Solomir. I don't know if YDL is strictly better than just like playing more non-equivalents, weirdly enough. Because like we just need to be able to res our ice. Because like look at the Hoshiko deck. What does it take for the Hoshiko to run the remote server if they need to find their breakers? You're playing Reg Hoshiko. Like it's really hard to cheat your way through a Hydra. So like you have to find your breaker, and if your breaker is like Echelon, oh, absolute nightmare. I already have this. I did play a match with this. Time for me to queue up my Hermes Sable. I think Sable is also really good because it's a nice way to get on tempo accesses before you lose the game. Because it's hard to go for singles, and the singles in this deck are really not worth it. Yo, Eric, how's it going? Congrats on the second video today. Hey, it's Iron Fox. We're gonna play against that Loup deck. Oh, we're gonna get ruined by it too. Oh no. What's happening tonight? Rohit, how's it going? Hey, congrats on the deck list of the week. Thanks, you too. Yeah, this sort of pressure from Loup is really powerful because it can trash the seamlesses, it can trash everything. I'm okay. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. That's better. We just ice up HQ. I recognize this from 3 years. It literally hasn't changed. What hasn't? They know what we're playing? Going great. Hey, good to hear. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, this deck has been around for a while. Some people find it a bit cheesy. I think it's reasonably placed right now. And I think it's a deck that you probably should know if you're going to an event how it works, because it's the sort of deck that if you don't know it exists, you just die. They know what we're up to, which is a problem. We're going to leave R&D open. Ion kept, so very likely maybe to see, what's it called? Imp turn 1. I think that's okay. I think we're just going to do Mess and Chess with Hedge Fund. I guess we can draw once. Okay. We could consider the Spin Doctor, but they want to contest it. This is the problem too, is where we need to, we didn't talk about the ability. We're just going to say, I think event. For what it's worth, saying program is fine. What do you mean what's happening tonight, Andre? The same thing happens every night you stream. You always keep directing the counters MP. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know if I have to take myself seriously anymore. Like, are we, or am I just a whiner? I feel like I'm just a whiner. Calling program here is reasonable. Like, okay, deck list of the week. It has 14 events. What do they want to play on turn 1? They want to play a couple of them. I'm just gonna call event. Lost the games tonight playing that Loup deck. Oh, you lost a lot of games. I think the Loup deck is a bit trickier to play. I think the margins are so thin. Which, you know, for better or for worse. I was thinking about fitting Mavirus into this deck for this matchup. Yeah, I think Mavirus would be pretty reasonable. In every deck, it's pretty reasonable. Also, Crore, huge shout out again. In terms of the, you know, the Discord server for Tournament Organizer in the judges channel, I know Oda Nuvo and I were having a conversation about like judging at a casual event, and they asked a question, and then the response from all the judges was so robust and so quick and very interesting. So Cookbook Imp, okay. Cookbook's a bit extra here. I think we can take a turn off to Purge because they can't afford a Knobkery. I think you're a tiny bit whiny, but it's true that you essentially never queue into matches that just like, oh, this is free. Yeah, lost an Aerospike. That's not good. We have a Spin Doctor. Fermenter. So going event here is okay. Well, that Cookbook Fermenter now makes sense. So like here, I think we just Purge. We Planogram for Ice. It's all counters. Always Haven. Maybe I queue up next. We're playing the Singaporean Gauntlet. How much ice do we have? 12. 12 and 44. So there's 11 ice and 32 cards. Would you believe Scapenet Outfit is one of the least annoying decks that I recently built? I'm scared. We could have probably just purged there. It's more so for the Imp. Because like if you purge the Imp, any purge of Fermenter, they don't have economy for the next couple turns. I think drawing, unless we whiff off the ice here, we're in a really bad spot. I think now we have to commit to this, and we get ice on our end. Holy shit. What the heck is this? And this is worse too, because now they're more likely to trash the ice here. Like, I probably should have just gone for the Purge, because if you purge this deck, like, it has nothing. But now they have everything, because R&D is wide open. Because, like, they can't get through this ice. So how do we... I'm going to keep the agendas in hand. They're safer there. Attitude adjustment, it's not really worth anything now. Because we just discard cards. We don't want to do a last click. Maybe it was better than the Spin Doctor, but I actually want the agendas in hand, I think. I'm just going to predict it for 3. 3 cards, I almost clicked it. So we want to discard some cards here. Cordon's pretty good, but not good into Imp. We need to discard 3 more cards. Trashing a Spin Doctor. What are we going to shuffle back? Like, I think we shuffle back the Neurospike and the Spin Doctor. Having the Spin Doctor in hand is fine. We can get rid of the NGO front. We can get rid of, I think an attitude adjustment is probably fine. event. Purging just means they price into Knob and 2 turns out. Yeah, but like if they don't have it, they don't have it. And I don't think they have it. Narrow spike. And I think we'll do the planogram. I don't think they have it. Like if they don't have exactly that, and mind you, there's only 2 Knob Crees in the deck, and if they play price, we get money, like we're totally fine with it. They trash an Geofront. That's fantastic. Do you need to res the spin there? Yeah, maybe not. Like now if we purge, they have nothing. The other option is icing, but then with the Audrey, they like push themselves forward. Like this is again why you run Mavirus, because if they hit a Mavirus here, the game's over on the spot. But now like their entire economy is the one fermenter. If they don't find a trash ball in R&D, they can't get Audrey. Drop a Bologna here? No, they'll imp it. Like into the bin? I don't think we need to. The NBD Cordon's useless once they get the Nopkri down. We have to res here. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything, but we'll res it. We have a really bad start. Maybe we should just push the remote server. It's just it's really hard when they have imp. But now they're going to be absolutely dragging. Nice yellow Lotus Field. Yeah, I know. It's wild to think Lotus Field has the same numbers as this, except this actually has like really good text on it. Lotus Field was important for those who played back in the day. We can maybe... I'm not going to leave R&D open. The issue is like, when do they hippo this? Like, it's so close to what they do. Do they just botulus, hippo, go? If that's the case, we probably have to push more into the remote server. I'm not going to. We just want to get an ice in front of this and not res it. If they spend a click running the NGO front, we're jazzed. Mind you, if they keep Steelskins in front in their hand, they actually have a play line against what's it called? Against the card we shuffled back. They have a play line. Lotus Field only has 117 power creep. Tell me about it. That being said, you can lower the strength of this one. Running archives. I'm not sure why, just to check. But like if they don't price for the Knob Curry, like they have to fermenter for Knob Curry. And we don't have a way to poison archives. Like poisoning archives would be so important because every turn they could run this to like charge up their Audrey. I think we drop the Spin Doctor. Hopefully we ice it up. We just want to get an ice in front of central servers. Again, we're on 12 ice, right? 12 ice. We've seen 2. There's 10 ice and 26. Losing a second Spin Doctor here is bad. If we planogram, we go up to 8 cards in hand. Oops, all operations. This is definitely a hand. I think if they spend a click running a Spin Doctor, it's like, it's okay. I'm just really worried about them opening up a central server. Because as soon as they steal one agenda, we're kind of scared. Because then it's within their, like... Did you say run archives to charge Audrey, or do I misunderstand? When they get Knob Curry down, Eric, yeah. If they get Knob Curry, then they can run archives to charge Audrey. And if we had a Mavirus, like, they can't do that. So, in theory, if we want to protect, like, against a Knob Curry, we have to ice up everything, yeah. Yeah, this is really rough. Yeah, not this turn, for sure. Maybe here they crack the fermenter. Again, we're weak to Hippo. And I'm really worried about Hippo. And if we play by Hippo by just like icing this up. So we can't let them trash this because they get an Audrey and for Loup is not good. So we just have to shuffle stuff back. We'll get rid of attitude adjustment. And I think we'll get rid of planogram. They haven't played an event yet. But they also don't really have money. Okay. So here, there's an upgrade. Yeah, this is the issue, right? Like this is why you play 3 Mavirus in every deck. We weren't able to do this for all the games we played. This deck probably has 2 POs to justify icing remote, let alone on this draw. Breathe. I think this deck probably has 2 little ice. That being said, if we just simply put a Hydra on the remote server and then something in front of it, we might be in a reasonable spot. Icing archives? Yes, we can't ice archives. Unless it's like a rhyme. Okay, sick. That's really good. Audrey doesn't deal with wraparound, so we're just going to ice up both centrals. The question is, how do we win from there? Don't ask me. We'll build it eventually. We're going to play for the late game. As rushy as this deck is meant to be. I don't think we need double seamless launch. But this is how you play around Hippo, right? And now they're going to struggle to get any more access. That being said, they can like run archives every turn. They will. This is a really good ice into Audrey. We can consider not resing it for Hippo purposes. They have to botchless this because this is, what is it, 3 cards from hand? Seems good. Seems good. Can we think about calling Ismari program yet? No. We can't. It's one of the worst things to do is change. Because I imagine 4 cards in hand are all events. As soon as we change, they play 4 events, right? Like, literally one of the worst things you can do in Ismari is change. Because, okay, 3 cards in their hand are probably events. And they need to play their price. They need to. Okay, if we build a remote server and we're not allowed to res, that's okay. Because they still have archives. So I'll draw once. Okay, we have that. So we can start thinking about the plan. That being said, like, we have to purge at Audrey at some point. 4 strength on message chest was interesting because if we purge, the problem is like we need to. We're so boned. We're so boned. We probably can't do this. They don't interact with money favorably. We have 15. Like, imagine that was a Hydra. Like, they face check into that. That's a Hydra. That's actually really good for us. As good as wraparound is there, Hydra is something. But like, now imagine what we need to score out, especially because we don't have a Mavirus. We need to put the card in the remote server. We have to advance it, and it has to survive. So it needs to survive not being imped, let alone they can't just steal it. We have no punishment for it. And then they have to not have any steel skins in hand, because as soon as they do steel skin into Audrey, we can't beat them often with Neurospike. They have badge, that's fine. Okay. If we purge here, it's not amazing. They have real breakers too. At some point, they might come down. If we get the second seamless, we don't even need to advance it once. Yeah, no, for sure. If we draw here, we're going to go up to 8. We can probably deal with 2 cards. This attracts a lot of attention on HQ. Okay. We have attitude. It's fine. Ooh. Yeah, this is the Ray Education Neurospike deck. Sign up for more ice? Yeah, you'd think, huh? There's 7 ice and 18 cards. Right? Yeah. Attitude Shuffle 2 is fine here. It's probably better than playing the hedge fund, but we have to do it now. The problem is, like, it draws cards. So we got Neurospike Rashida. Like, that's not good. Like, no matter what, we're just ripping through cards. Like, what do we discard here? Probably the Rashida. Careful about double seamless into Neurospike. You might not have enough cards to bond with your education. Yes, yeah, we don't want to go too hard. And for what it's worth, like, keeping a planogram in hand is actually like pretty reasonable, because then you want to do planogram seamless Neurospike and it gives you a lot more reach. It's like kind of unintuitive how weird that line is. Oh, this is not easy. Without Mavirus, like, this matchup is pretty messed up. It's just 2 credits. It's not a big deal. Thank you. Okay, finally they're moshing. And now they're going to play a bunch of events, which is fine. We got 2 credits. That's like, imagine we were DreamNet. GameNet? GameNet. So they threw out the price, Buzzsaw, and Strike Fund. Buzzsaw is just going to struggle into Mess and Chasmo. They threw out a price. Funny enough, like, I think you want to play moshing and play price in the same turn. They're also not running archives anymore, so they're not getting Audrey or Fermenter. Which they probably don't need to. There's a buffer drive too, so like they are maybe set up for some late game. Rhyme is kind of fun. I don't know why this is in the deck, I'll be honest. Like, I think it's meant to be some sort of Banhar tech, but again, like, I feel like any ice in this slot is reasonable. Like, pop-up window is still okay. So we could push for it. The problem is they have 2 Audrey counters. So they need to get through a message chest, so that's 2 Audrey counters. They need to worry about getting through this. Like, I think we just need a Hydra on the outermost. As soon as we have a Hydra on the outermost, we're in a good spot. Let's draw for Hydra. Okay, cool. All right. You can push certain ice past comfortable breakpoints. I just don't know what ice it is. Like, wraparound doesn't matter. Mestichesso on 4 or 5 is not a huge difference because it falls down to Turbine together. Toll Booth on 5 or 6 is not a big difference. Like, if people are already breaking with Buzzsaw without boosting, I think it's good. Hydra needs 3 cards for Audrey to break. Yeah, that's kind of cool. But is it the most important? Like, I don't know if you're teching your deck into Audrey enough. Like, if you are, you'd rather just play Mavirus. 5s become 6s? Yeah, that's kind of something. Do they have Botchli? They don't have Botchli. Okay, well, we're going to try and win here. We haven't seen a single Steel Skin, though. That's problematic. We have Predictive, though. So if we do install Advance, there's a chance we win this turn unless we don't. I didn't do any math. We probably could have gone Program there. Actually... Wait, So what do we lose to here? They have enough money. In terms of the programs we expect them to play, that's more important. I think we call Program. Ice in Spanish is yellow. I wonder what this says about ambient ice. Let me do Program. No way this sticks. It's unlikely, but like, what else do we have to do? Cool. Oh, thanks. Oh, we're gonna do it officially. I was gonna do it under the table. Thanks. So much for never pivot. Yeah, this turn's more important because this could be the last turn of the game. It's not only that it never sticks. I think a bigger problem is that like we probably don't have lethal. Because if they just keep a Steel Skin in hand with Audrey, they can pop it before we score, and then they'll have more cards in hand. Is Reeducation random? Random. So they have to do it before we score out. So we have to do Seamless Advance. Oh, shit, actually. Seamless Advance Reeducation. Yeah, it's super unlikely that we kill them here. Because I thought... Yeah, we need another advancement. So it probably has to stick for another turn. And this is where like you would do like advance. And then you would play, what's it called? NAPD Cordon. But unfortunately to the Imp matchup, you can't do that line. But against anybody else, it's like very, very powerful. Right? Because then this becomes 4, 5, 6. It's like, what is it? 12 more credits to steal on top of the ice. That's pretty good. But if they just hold Steel Skins in hand, I think we're in a pretty bad spot. I don't think this is hard. They can just draw 4 times. It might be. It may be. Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, so I think they're probably okay. They just need to have a Steel Skin in hand. And they just need to fire the Steel Skin before we put the final advancement on it. Advance, then Seamless for more surprise rather than Seamless Advance? Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's way better. Yeah, dude up. Yeah, it's good to break it down. This is always a fun one to talk through. Yeah. Hey, Daria. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. How you doing? Having a Mav behind a wrap here would have been great lockout. Yeah, having a Mavirus would be good. I got no Steel Skins. And I see 3 NGOs in archives. So this is an agenda. Looks like it, yeah. The fact that they told us that they're not on Steel Skins is pretty damning. Like, now they have 4 draws in 22. So they have a pretty good chance of finding Steel Skins. Again, there's 3 in 22 on 4 draws. I would take those odds. Pronounce is fine, doing good. Chilling before PAX 2 tomorrow. Yo, sick, you going out? I gotta shout that out. I have the PAX 2 tab open. It's this weekend, right? While you're drawing 20 cards and not finding ice is funny, you probably got last week's got at least 1 spike. Now, if they pivot centrals, like we have to both keep the 1 Neurospike, which is easy, or keep the Seamless. And if that's the case, like we can't do much about it. But if they're running centrals, it's unlikely that they're finding their Steel Skins. Say that's fair? Yeah, no, do it up. Yeah. Now, can they contest the remote server? The problem is if they do and they fail, the cost to it is actually kind of high because it gets cards out of their hand. And cards out of their hand is how they beat this. That's for sure. Because if they just go down to 2 cards in hand, it's really easy to just lose to Reeducation. Mind you, if Hydra does fire, the middle subroutine more accurately, and they need 3 cards in hand because of the rhyme, so that does feel pretty cool. That is a 5 credit res, and then Mess Chest was another 5 credits. So to be able to do the combo, we just need 6 credits, right? Neurospike, Seamless Advance. What is the geometric? So they just need to find 1 steel skin. If they have 1 steel skin, they'll always be on 4 cards in hand. So what is the chance of them being able to survive this? Like, how good is the draw? I think it's probably about like a 60% chance to survive. Yeah, I think that sounds right. Okay, so they have 22 cards. They can draw 4. They have 3 successes. They're drawing 4. They need at least 1 in hand. I think the chance of them finding 1, I would say about 60%. 47%. Okay. 47% chance to find a steel skin in 4 draws, by the way. How much time are you going to be at the booth? Not again. Oh, that's not again. Hey, it was great. What's it called? Commentating your game at SOS. I'm teeing up at the standard startup events mostly, so won't be at the booth much, although I'll probably lurk at the booth once I'm done exploring. Chat demands giant demands the remote. Stream knows what the ice are. We would just make you suffer. I think the remote is interesting. Like, I didn't do any of the math. Okay, they're drawing. It's a rhyme. Cool. Take your credit. Okay, so 6 strength Mess and Chest doesn't change the math, but a 7 strength Hydra is pretty good. I think they get in here. Because this thing need 2 virus. Yeah, they get in here. Yeah. I'll be at the booth on Sunday. Come say hi. Yo, Cat, that's sick. I thought you were Netrunner out for the year. I think 1 Neuro beats 1 Steel Skin. If you start at 6 cards, 4 after Seamless Neuro, you reduce them to 1. Audrey hitting Steel Skin only makes them 2, so Neuro's kill. Cookie. So the thing is, before we score at the agenda, they can just send the Steel Skin to Audrey, and then they'll just have more cards in hand before we re-education, before we Neuro. You're right. If they have less cards in hand, it's lethal, but they won't let us, like, they'll basically have 7 cards in hand when we start the re-education score, right? That's the idea, is that you can feed to Audrey at any paid ability window. That's really important. Thanksgiving tomorrow, then standard tournament Saturday and startup Sunday. Yo, sick. I'm teaching. I still think they get through this. The question is whether they worry they can get through this and not. Because this is, you know, technically only 1 virus counter if you want to float a tag, and then 3 cards. Teaching is as difficult as playing. Teaching is really fun. I'm saying using Audrey to hit 1 Steel Skin only nets them 1 card. Oh, Lord, you're right. So they go from 5 to 6. Wait, did I do the math totally wrong? Yeah, you're right. Hold on. Thank you. Excuse me. So, yeah, I think they get in here. I think we are a bit cooked. So, okay, so they go from 5. They go to 6 cards in hand. Then we have to play 2 of our cards. Mind you, we can always, like, just heart the cards, hope we get a Neurospike. But we'll be on 5 cards in hand. We can bottom 4, so they go 6 to 2. Yeah, you're right. It will be lethal. They need 2. Hydra is okay here, but we're still cooked. They still get in. Yeah, this is not good. On 8 credits, there's no bad res here. Oh, okay. Wait, what? Didn't they break it? Oh, they only use 1 Audrey counter. Sorry. I thought it was empty. Yeah. Not good. We now have to actually score out. Man, I love teaching Netrunner. It is absolutely so fun. I take it at any opportunity you can. That might make sense with this channel. I swear again, maybe next year there's shucks. Me and Pat needs to go out. Might be able to get plano value next turn. Yeah, it'd be okay. And they can't run this remote server too commonly. Like, it's hard to do this every single turn. That being said, they get in. If it's a bloner, they can imp it. This is 2 more cards from hand. We'll put them on 1 card from hand. We have no punishment for that. It's a lot of cards burnt. It definitely is, but like, they're in a pretty healthy spot. Wake implant. Wait, what? That's cool. Wait, where is it? It's this. So where's the wake implant influence? Probably on conduit? I don't think we're fine. I think we have problems. Maybe we are fine. This is the issue that it's like we can't purge out because archives is a liability. Something we were discussing last week. Ooh, one labor rate's down. That's neat. I didn't pay attention to what was bottomed with it was strike fund. Okay. Okay. What? Oh. Did they overboost? Oh no, they just did it twice. Okay, cool. Well, they're in. Wake is interesting, but I have no doubt that currently Ion had Wake in their hand. Or like, I can't do anything with it. And again, that's the sort of thing. It's like, if we do respect it, this is gonna be hard. See any Nat roaming JNet? No, no. The like throwing a card to Audrey just so Nat would fire was like pretty funny. But I'm not a big Nat believer. Do you have any advice on teaching decks? I played one game with Newcomer using the Gateway recommended, but wonder if there's anything better. Gateway recommended is really good. Because it does a really good job at like forcing some fundamentals that I think are a bit harder to land in a lot of other teaching decks. For instance, the fact that a lot of the ice in Gateway, you don't have to break the subroutines is absolutely fascinating. I think that's really, really cool. Generally, I would always recommend teaching the runner first, because just saying face check into stuff and not worry about the face downs and learn what they are as you go is a nice way to learn both sides of the table. And I think it's a lot harder to accidentally win as a corporation. And then they can appreciate the bluffing when they're the ones on the other side of the table and they have to interact favorably with it. I think we do planogram here. Okay, hey, well, there's the ice we wanted. The deck does have a refractor, right? So we have too many cards here. Rashid and the remote server is cute. I do want to trash the cookbook. I think the deck only has one. In terms of labor rights, yeah, they bottomed above strike. Yeah, cookbook trash seems really good. We haven't seen a single botch list. Now here we're going to discard some cards. I don't think we want to discard ice. Having a wraparound on archives is just going to be difficult for them, but they do have Cleaver in the deck. We just haven't seen one yet. We just see we feel way too far behind. Like, we can't discard most of these cards. Like, these 5 all seem core, so I think we can get 1 ice on the table. Wraparound is, like, cute until it isn't. And, like, eventually the Cleaver comes down and they do go through this for 1 credit. And then, like, at least we're not weak to Hippo. I guess we have to push for the win. We're going to keep archives open. I feel like it might be a bit of a fool's errand. The wraparounds are nice. I just don't think they're going to do enough. Toll Booth ending the run if they don't have 3 credits is actually kind of relevant, but, like, 14 credit for Mentor. Yikes. I used to feel differently, but now I 100% only teach the game with the Gateway decks if possible. It's really good. It is really, really genuinely good. Like the code gates being all sorts of weird, the economy being generally more interactable than not. The decks are just about at the same speed. There's some cards that are just worse than others, and you get to learn that on your own. Defensive upgrades are interesting once they're introduced, and I think it's only like Managarm for the teaching deck, right? Third Planogram, so I'm afloat. Yeah, the deck is like 1 Paladin, 1 Cookbook. Losing Cookbook is kind of nice. It means the Audrey won't come in with a counter. They can clear the tag there. They don't know what this card is. I don't know if they need to clear the tag. I feel like the runner deck is pushed compared to the Corp. I think the Corp, it's harder. Like, you have to be a better player to win with the Corporation. That's for sure. But like, the deck inherently has Urtica Ciphers in it. So like, you have a pretty reasonable win condition. But like, so much of like actually winning, if you're both playing at high level, which like you're probably not if you're learning the game, is like you need the Managarm to largely win the game. But that being said, I think a lot of the breakers don't really scale well. Like Karuna into Carmen is kind of messed up. And I like how you learn that like sometimes it's right to just let the Karuna fire. Some percent of this game was just drawing the wrong half of the deck with a bit of a bummer. Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. I think we probably shouldn't buy centrals. It sucks to get the add value. Like, this hasn't been good for us. And the problem is like, this is going to be a long game and we're going to lose slowly. And like, my mood. There's a Paladin. I don't think we have to trash her as much as we can. They're on 21 credits. Let's go. We've lost now though because they have the steel skins in hand. Like, we have to score out. Cleaver into Brawn is gross for sure. Yeah, you have Leech though, if I'm not mistaken. But that's like another good thing about the game is like, it shows you all these ice that are difficult to deal with unless you deal with them on the other terms. Like, you click through Brawn and feel good about it in Gateway. Found brand new players have trouble with forming long-term plans as a corp, which are absolutely needed. Yes. If you place your ice poorly in system gateway, you're cooked. Like if you put your Brawn on R&D, like how are you scoring out? You got one of those in the deck. Cleaver and Mayfly both break Brawn for 8. It's terrible. It's not good. No, it's not good. But I think you have Leech, maybe only in the more expert version. They see one seamless in the bin. So the best we can do is install advance and hope. I released a new Cyberfeeder update that added some extra features, remembers kind of secrets, and stored Arcus when pressing control. Yo, Rahi, huge. That's sick. I'll check it out. Re-education doesn't care about Steel Skin. It does, because they can fire it before we score out. Just have more cards in hand as a whole, right? Double Neurospike is a kill, but like for double Neurospike to land, we need to do install triple advance, which is not going to happen this turn. So we can do install advance, and then we have 5 credits, which we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to score out. We can do seamless advance Neurospike. It's the best we have, but if they run this and they know exactly what they need to run this, like we do lose the game. Leech being a virus comes in with extra cards. Yeah, that one's really good. We're done. We're like, we have no way out. Bluff a Bologna. If it's a Bologna, they just run in and imp it. Like the fact that all 3 NGO fronts are out means there is no bluffing here. If it's a re-education, they run it. If it's a Bologna, they run it and they imp it. Or they just steal it, right? Like there's no bluffing. Make them waste counters? I mean, maybe. The problem is like they get a counter every turn. And now that we push this, we just don't have the money to push on next turn. Is it worth purging? Takes several turns to build up Audrey? It is, but after Rashida, it's really hard to purge. The thing is that we purge, like, I guess they can't sandwich up reset Audrey. Like, they run archives once. Once they get the cleaver down, they're also going to charge R&D this turn. I don't know. This forces them to do something, which is kind of cute. What are we throwing out here? Install advance next turn means we can do seamless neuro, but we've run out of money. Spin Doctor? Nah, Spin Doctor Benji is good. Is there set list somewhere with advanced gateway decks? I've only seen use the basic ones. They're the ones with the plus on it. But yeah, they're probably pinned in GLC apparently. You can find them if you search on NetRunDB. I don't know who uploaded them, but someone did. If you search like, I forget what they called, advanced or something. Oh, this is really bad. When I give demos, I put Brawn on multiple servers because of the villain. I think there's only one in the teaching deck. When I give demos, I install and res Brawn on specific servers to teach them that you can attack somewhere else. Yeah. You don't have Botulises? Wait, what? I don't have any Botulists, but I do have Botulus number 4. I don't know what that means. Is that a revolver? The deck doesn't have Botulises in it. It has Boomerang. Oh, cool. Okay, so they figure out how to deal with Hydra. Boomerang is actually one of the good ways to deal with Hydra. It's just a tag. I know we need that second seamless. The plan was to jam next turn. Yes, but we don't have the money to do it next turn. We're cooked. Like next turn we put the Spin Doctor in credit. The thing is we've lost. Like we've lost I think a couple turns ago. That was relevant here, but a played Tuno did at Itnats was install Bologna. Next turn seamless NB Cordon. Next turn advanced Neuro was super cool. Yeah, double Neuro off Bologna is cool, but the problem is like Cordons are useless against Nopcree Imp. But yeah, it's really, really cool. I think not a lot of people are ready to deal with NPD Cordon, besides, of course, all the Nopcree Imp decks, which are like very ready to deal with it. I've run so many demos. Man, yeah, maybe next year. Yeah, I think we're going to concede and run it back because it's 11:20. We have time for one more game. But yeah, we're totally cooked. Tonight's proven that all decks are with 3 Mavirus and 3 spin. Yeah, I know. Man, it's really weird. And then they play 3 Trojan Horse. And like admittedly, 3 Trojan Horse and like 3 what's it called? Is the tech war against this 3 Netscape. So we'll see what they put in the op counter. No one is ready for NP Corner except for the decks that are ready for NPD Corners. Tell me about it. But like imagine in the mid game having to run through Rhyme, Hydra, Mesta, Chesto to deal with the NPD Cord and double advanced, right? Like it's imp or bust. Or light the fire, arguably. But it's hard to light the fire there, remote server. If you don't know what's in there. Just 1 in 6 turns? Generally, yes. And I think we drew we drew the back half of the deck before the front half. And This is one of the decks that does put pressure on centrals that you have to respect. And then I think I over-respected Hippo because it seems like there's no Hippos in this version of the list, but maybe I'm wrong. They imped it for value and then they run it? Yeah. All right, I'm just going to leave. Good game. Thanks for the game. Yeah, we probably overextended on centrals and iced things up too much. But at this point, yeah, things are not good. Our remote server is messing chess with Rhyme. And the boomerang will come back. Yeah. Not good. Gotta play Mavirus. Oh, so you are. Maybe wrap on remote instead of R&D was more correct. I think, yeah, wrap on R&D was maybe not necessary. For what it's worth, like there is a cleaver in the list, so the wrap only has a shelf life of so long. And the Rhyme actually was doing a bit more here. It's really interesting. The Hydra is just as difficult to break as the wrap round. Yeah. Card too good. Big Hosh is wrong. Thanks. Cheers. Catch you around. Yeah. Okay. Let's try another one. Runner. Takes me a while sometimes. We'll get there. All right, they're disowned. Jay, are you on the big host train? I saw Yan also, excuse me, Tuno wrote up their list or its list. So sorry. And it didn't seem too hot on it. Totally your choice. You think more meta is going to be another Loup deck? You think it's going to be viruses? I think if someone asks you. Oh, I queued up as a runner. Oh, I queued up as runner. I meant to queue up as corp. Okay, this is fine. I thought about it and then made the wrong call. Medium and neat. I think this is Barf Thule. That is not the worst if we can get a hippo. Or an imp, sorry. Yeah. If things could get better, we're going to be playing against Thule Ashes Spam. Best of luck. Have fun. It's good to play against this deck. I think it is really tricky. But yeah, I don't know. This is the sort of deck that like potentially is playing without ice. I think that's like the cool Thule deck that's capturing a lot of people. If that's the case, like 3 of these cards are pretty bad. Hey, Ion, good game. Why is the first thing I see Jai just on me? I think you had something firm to say about Big Hoshiko. I'm not sure if Thule is medium meta. I think that's about accurate. It's not like a big part of the meta, but it can do some things that seem kind of unfair. So I'm assuming this is like the Barf Thule deck. It runs no ice, and then it threatens out like with tags, so you can end up really quickly. I was planning to queue into your spike as Mario with a favorite matchup for you. I appreciate it. I think we need it this evening. We'll draw once. Fermenter is nice to get down. I don't think we need to greed up Paladin, so we want to make sure here that there's no false leads or Rashidas. It's a Hyperloop, so this is Barf Thule. We don't want to take 2 core damage, so we'll pay for that. This one we can let go, unfortunately. I think we'll just get, it's either the Paladin or the Fermenter. I'm not sure if the deck is on Mavirus. I don't remember the list too well. She's actually better than her peers to confirm. Good game to you, Andre. Yeah, I think Hosh in that matchup is better than you, Loup, because there's so many runs you run archives there, right? I think we'll just put down Paladin. It's rough that like literally nearly 4 out of 5 cards in our hand are not good into this matchup. It's fine. You know what you did. Yeah, okay. So the big threat here is that there's the distributed tracing, and single tag removal is not that popular. So at any point in time, if you end with too few cards in hand, distributed tracing into actually Fermenter would probably be better here. It kind of just blows you up. Now if we run into Hendrik at the bad time, we need to trash that. That's not good for us. We have 1 credit to trash if it's a actually we should sorry, click for credit definitely first here. We don't want to take a core damage for no reason. We can check server 4. Wait. I did that the wrong way? I think wait, let me double check. I think I corrected that incorrectly. So we started the turn on 4. We went down to 3. We ran the Gaslight Spiel on 1. So we can click for credit. This is right. I think this is right. Started on 4. Post down. 2, 3, trash Gaslight, 2, 1, click to 2, run here. I can undo the turn if it's easier. Yeah, I should have done undo click. I think we're good. It's a wage workers. Okay. We'll get the fermenter down for free. So we don't know what server 3 is. Wage workers is actually pretty important. I'm not sure. Some of the decks are considering playing 4/2s. Yeah, playing around. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. We're going to be on 1 credit next turn. Not great. We definitely want the imp. It's a 1 of in the deck, unfortunately. So let's see if they triple advance here and get click back. Oh, Regolith. Huge. This card's messed up. At least we don't have to trash it anymore. Ah! The game you just get big ass fermenter and keep chipping it. Like, I don't know what to do from here. We don't know what server 2 is, but they didn't score it out. So, and this deck can keep agendas on the table, especially like Ikoa's. So I think here we might just be able to do nothing. We can do like 3 credits into the simul chip. It's not amazing. It'll give us flexibility in the late game. Imagine if you're Loup here. It's not dissimilar to Hoshiko. Right? Like, we've trashed 1 card. So it's not that different, I don't think. We definitely want to do it with the wage workers. So next turn, ideally, we do credit, sure gamble, deal with wage workers. With the wage workers off the table. Oh, austerity. Yeah, right. Okay. That makes sense. So we'll do credit, gamble. So now we have a fork. We can deal with server 6 or server 2. You can discard breakers for sure. We haven't discarded anything else that wasn't a breaker yet, though. But we definitely can discard breakers. So if server 6 is an agenda, we take a core damage. We deal with distributed tracing. I'd rather just deal with the MC austerity here. If we trash, though, the thing that it can play is the lose 3 clicks or take a core damage. I forget the name of the card, but that card is seeing play in this deck. We'll just get rid of this. It flips Hoshiko, which is good. If they score out a 4/2, here's annoying. We had 1 click fewer than we wanted to. Riot suppression, thank you, Jay. Yeah, we're not going to need any of these cards. Yeah, that's the worst case, 4/2. If it's ontological, we're happy. Okay, apparently it's not a 4/2. Yeah, that's a problem. So now at any point in time, if we end it with 3 cards in hand, we can just literally lose the game because they can do distributed tracing into end of line. That's kind of messed up. Just take the core. I think we want to avoid it because they have a lot of ways to do like distributed tracing to hypoxia, and then they can guarantee us lethal. They do distributed tracing into end of line. So we're going to try and avoid it as much as possible. So now we want to make sure that we're not running on click 3 that often. So we can check this. Our real goal is to trash the wage workers. All right, well, our goal has shifted. Run click 3 is fine. Is there anything they play that gives us a tag? Yeah, you're right. Run click 3 is fine. Well, no, run through click 3 can be pretty rough. Yeah, this should be on 2 imps. It's not. It definitely should be. I should make some changes. Okay, we'll draw. Steel skin for damage is okay. 2 is danger zone. This is slightly different deck, though. This is like more reg than it is mulch. We're not actually playing Audrey. So now they're not doing anything. We can run HQ. We can get an access. They have Iquas in hand. If we steal an Iqua, or at least you see, this is the problem. We don't have distributed tracing here. So we can install a card if we want to. I think we're just going to draw and discard some of these cards. Getting an Earthrise Hotel down that turn would be a bit more important. So we don't need a Cleaver. We don't think. We don't need a Leech Botulus in case they do play ice. I think this deck should be playing Jaguarundi. It's weird because it comes down to slots. But everything the deck does lines up so well with Jaguarundi that you might as well play a copy the way I see it. All right, so this is Hendrik. So if this is a Hendrik, we want to make sure that we're running on, we need to access the agenda first. Unfortunately, it's a 50-50. And we want to be running later in the turn than sooner. We'll get the Earthrise Hotel down. Generally, you don't want to install cards like this sooner than later. I think Fermenter here we can crack pretty happily. I don't know if they're on the Mavirus. But as soon as we crack this, then they can just like trade the false lead. I don't think there's anything to trade the false lead for if we feel bad. It might actually make more sense here to run server 4 and run server 7. I think that's probably for the best. I think we just play the fundamentals and keep the stuff down. We're okay. It's a lot of money. But now if they want to score out a 3-1, that's all they're doing. It's a riot suppression, so it's either suffer a core or lose 3 fewer clicks next turn, which gives us 1 click. You said no? Uh-oh. I don't know what I did wrong. I've never played this matchup yet. If we take the core damage, it's not great. If we had 3 fewer clicks, they can oppo us. That's what they're going to do, right? If we take the 3 few clicks, they oppo us. We'll take the core damage. Nice. Chip in the fermenter. Oh, you're right. That's what chip the fermenter was. Yeah, we could have responded because the simul chip is useless. I don't think it's the worst because I think we can chip into imp. if we don't get in the Nobkuri. But yeah, we could have chipped in for Fermenter before we ended our turn. That's totally true. I forgot we had this. But here we can't actually take the three clicks because they oppo us. Admittedly, it'll only be 2 tags, but that means we float with a single tag. I don't think that's that punishing. All right. All right. I think we don't need DJ Fenris here. Unless we do. What are we pricing into? Literally anything. Oh, sick. Too many cards. Claude, Imp, Revolver. We'll take the Imp. Now Hendrik is on access. I'm going in. I don't know what this is. I think we can hopefully avoid it. Okay, if we steal this, we're on threat 3. If we imp it, they don't have it. If we steal this, we're distributed tracing. I think we steal this and we just go back. We're on 4 hand size. That's fine. Because we need to hit a distributed tracing here. I don't think we usually lose here. We'll imp that, I guess. So we'll get rid of some cards. So we don't need Botulus. We don't need Buzzsaw. We don't need Amaku. We don't need Botulus. One more you want? Really? I guess the Moshing. So now they have a fork of their own. Is this installed cards or any card? Trash a card. Draw. Yeah. It's an MCA. Okay. So that's hard to deal with, but we don't actually have to deal with this if we pressure Centrals. So we'll do Earthrise, Hosh. Okay, we have an Augustina. It's kind of fun. We need to install something here. Unfortunately, we can't install DJ Fenris or Augustina. We're going to run HQ. They drew a lot. Ideally, we find a Nikwa here. We only have 2 clicks. We could steal that. We really need that fermenter on the table. Imagine we had a fermenter. Price for the Nobkuri. Yeah, you're right. We could have. We probably should have as well. Yeah, okay. Well, the win's in the archives. Trash imp and chip it back. I don't think we have a window. We don't have a window. Because when your turn ends, there's no paid ability window after your turn ends. Right? Right? I don't think there is. The last window is... thinking. Because there's a when your turn ends... Okay, so there's one paid ability window during the upkeep phase. The discard phase. But it's after the first check. But Paladin Puemo is one of the last things that happens on the turn. Just like Class Act, right? So there's no paid ability window at Class Act. Yeah, so I don't think there's a window here. I'm just going to get rid of the Paladin. Actually, Earthrise was probably a bit better. We're going to get card draw anyways. We don't need 3 cards. Yeah, Earthrise was better. It's nice to have cards in hand, though, so we can face check. But next turn, if we run Archives, we win. So they need to get a Spin Doctor on the table. So that it's a Spin Doctor. Or it's not. Okay, we have 2 credits. We can moshing this hand pretty easily. They can pop False Lead on the Archives run of the MCA. Yeah, but we can take the court in. I see what you mean. That's fine. If they do that, that's fine. Yeah, they have to have it. They have it. That's fine. Yeah, no paid ability. You have to turn in check. Okay, cool. Yeah, there is one paid ability window in that whole discard phase, but it's right before right when the discard phase starts. It's like the window that you can use to resist Spin Doctor to mess with like Lad, but technically you can also do that after their last click. Wage Workers Iqua. Okay. So the MCA is going to go off. So we're going to run HQ. We'll simul chip the imp. So at least we don't feel silly about not using our simul chip. All right, well. Maybe they drew that with the Spin Doctor. Who knows? GG. Did you draw that with the spin? It looked like a weird draw. Like generally every turn they spam onto the table. It's between discarding down to hand size and turn ends. Yeah, right. Cool. That makes sense. Interesting. Did you have the Oppo in hand? I didn't know the list was on Managarm. That does make some sense. But yeah, we knew Hendrik was in here, so we just don't mess with this. Like, if they score an agenda from hand, they score an agenda from hand. They didn't have the Oppo. So the turn that we took the Riot Suppression, the reason why we feel like we're forced to do that is because if we lose 3 clicks on a turn after we've stolen or trashed, which is going to happen always because of Riot Suppression, they give us Oppo. And then if we float 3 tags, they can kill us with Hypoxia and to end the line. Yeah. Wait, oh, whoa. I thought you were on no ice whatsoever. I just started hucking all my icebreakers. The version of this deck I'm familiar with has no ice. So they actually had ice, which probably is Jaguarundi, which like, hell yeah, Jaguarundi's so good for this deck. It does literally everything the deck wants it to do. Tags, core damage, annoying. Yeah, that makes sense. I really appreciate Jaguars in here. Yeah. It does everything you want it to do. It's so wild. It's like, so there's a lot of decks that want to go out there to play no ice. And honestly, right now, without things like Stargate, and this deck, I know in the write-up Santa said something about like Stargate not being great, but you can win against it, especially because they're trashing cards. The fact that you put an ice and you res it, in a lot of ways presents more problems than just putting another asset on the table, potentially. Not always, but potentially. Because now they have to find their killer, which in a lot of decks is a one of. The face check is brutal. And then Jaguarundi is one of those weird dice that actually scales into middle-late game. So jamming anything behind it is really important. They must respect Jaguar. Threat 4 may as well be threat 7 a lot of time. It's really just ultimate. Yeah. Threat 4 is so awkward. Yeah, threat 4 is not a good number. I do enjoy including one just to force my opponent to respect it. Yeah. I just think like a deck playing no ice versus playing actually one ice is a huge difference because it does require a runner to do something very specific. And specifically now in a world, I think no ice is a bit more defensible in a world with bin breakers if you played like before rotation, because the runners could produce bin breakers at only a financial cost. But now that I have to spend the click to find the breaker and install it, and obviously not lose it to core damage before that point, actually is a legitimately bigger tax than putting most other things on the table. 1x Behold. That would have got me. It's weird. Maybe Behold wouldn't get us. We generally want to end with an extra tag left, but if we hit a Behold into a false lead, yeah, that will get it. Yeah, I believe it. I like this person's mindset. Play one, but every face down to Jaguar, yeah. No, I seems wrong. You kind of snap loose to DJ. DJ can't be good for you. Stargate's not popular. That can't be good for you. I still think you can win into DJ. It's obviously not easy. But yeah, just presenting something, especially Jaguar, that's hopefully always taxing. Hey, you too. Cool. Unfortunately, it's 11:40 and we don't have time to do another deck. Kind of a mixed night, I'll be honest. Thanks so much for hanging out with me regardless. I really do enjoy it as much as maybe sometimes it's obvious I don't. Hopefully you're all doing well. Apologies, there hasn't been a lot of video content out on the channel. We're going to get to fixing that real soon. There should be content as soon as Monday. And we have a couple of videos in the pipeline. We have a replay review coming up that I have to re-record tomorrow, and I think it's actually like quite good. So I'm excited for that to be out. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, thanks for hanging out so much. If you're watching the video too, if you're watching the VOD, hopefully you're doing well. If you want to leave a like on the video, that definitely helps the channel grow. I do appreciate that. Leaving comments, stuff like that. I respond to the comments that we can, which is most of them. I think that's it. What's up for Netrunner this weekend? We have a a circuit opener next week here in Montreal. I know on Sunday there's one also in the Northeast in New Hampshire. Both of those are relatively close. Imagine going to both and winning 2 on a weekend. How cool would that be? So you come to Montreal, you crush it, and then you go down a couple hours across the border. I think that's it. Oh, wait, some announcements really quickly. Just there's no way that you're hearing this for the first time, but there is like some quick news. I guess we'll talk about this a bit next week. They banned the Devas. Yeah, no surprise. But Eternal, they ended up doing some points to certain things. Wage Workers, Gatlight, Power Shutdown. A bit surprised to see, but I do think that is actually a card that you were excited to play in what's it called specifically, industrial genomics. People are playing that, and then they just banned all of these. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's cool to see these points change around, and then banning these, I'm actually excited to play Eternal again, because we've talked about that at length. I do want to say also huge shout out to Anarcho, who Anarcho, she's stepping down from her position in the Eternal squad, and it's awesome that there's folks at NSG that support this format, and there's huge shout outs to the people who are going to continue to pick this up. So that's really cool. Thanks Anarcho for all your help with Eternal, making it as cool as it is. System update 2021 is largely sold out, which is kind of wild. They're selling at like a huge reduction if you want to buy some of the damaged copies. So that's the tuck boxes damaged, not the cards themselves. The tuck boxes are pretty sick, but the deal you can get on this and the sustainable consumption is pretty good. So you want to find an excuse to buy extra copies of like a system update. I think it's just system update, right? And mind you, system update is technically rotating. This might be a really nice time, specifically in the US, to pick it up really cheaply. So it is the updated version too, with all the new glyphs and all the new corrections, which is great. I think Trojan subtypes. And of course, NSG's at PAX U this weekend, which is 6. There's gonna be a bunch of events. We have a lot of folks in chat who already say they're going out there. So say hi, go pick up those Wage Workers promos, go buy some cool new playmats. I hope you have a good time. And if you do, we'll be excited to hear about it on Tuesday or Thursday. If you want to like let us know in the chat or on the comments. I need those playmats. Yeah, they're really good. I think, man, if NSG hasn't learned from Worlds that like having, you know, good merch that people want to buy, is such a big deal for them. And admittedly, having that merch at a location that people travel to, like that's also a really nice reason to have people travel. Like people feel good about that. But having stuff like this accessible, as much as it is just at conventions, it seems, that's really cool. Those are both very, very, very good arts. It's a shame they're not going to be on like prize kits, I guess. But big fan of both of those. And that's it. Sorry to sneak the news there at the end. If you already checked out, you've missed it. I'm so sorry. We'll see you next week. Take care, y'all. Ciao.